Welcome. We have a very interesting subject we're going to talk about today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, TikTok family. Welcome, YouTube family. If you're new to our platform, um, welcome to our platform. New followers, new subscribers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Miss Penny. I'm a hoodoo mentor. Um, we have a very beautiful platform on Patreon called Spiritual Roots where I mentor you in helping you understand the practice and give you confidence on your hoodoo journey. We talk about all things hoodoo, our resources there, the support we provide there is unmatched. Okay, so if you're interested in hoodoo, not the spells, not the fluff, and you truly want to understand the practice of our ancestors. And this is a closed practice. Let me be absolutely clear. This is a closed practice. If you're interested in that, uh, check out our resources. It is unmatched. And the way the ancestors have led me to teach hoodoo and the resources is to put power in your hand because hoodoo is all about your own personal power and helping you understand that. So if you're interested in learning hoodoo without the fluff, without the spells, to really help you understand how those spells work, how this works, get over there in our community. Um, you won't be disappointed. Okay. And talk to some of our practitioners over there. Okay. So my mission is to help you be as confident and see results. If you want to see results in your practice, this would be the way to go. I wish someone would have told me that. Okay. I'm telling you, I'm giving you all the experience that I have experienced with working with ancestors, the most elevated ancestors, working with saints and angels. So I'm telling you firsthand, and you can't get it wrong. Okay. You're going to get results in our community in the way I teach it and lay it out to you. I think we make it very simple over there. You will get results if you follow the rituals and the practice. If that's something that you're interested in, check out Spiritual Roots Hoodoo Community. I also offer astro readings to help you on your journey, uh, to give you insight to where you should be through your birthday. So that's very interesting and well. You probably want to check that out. That's pinned somewhere here. Our Astro Hoodoo Spiritual Blueprint. If you're interested in a reading with me, again, just DM me. Okay. This can be done on TikTok. I've had people, and my email address is available on YouTube. So if you're interested in emailing me, requesting a reading, please do so. Okay. All right. So today we're going to be talking about uh, the books that we have covered: Magical Psalms, Badass Ancestors, and Libations. Okay. I said, I wouldn't go over this Psalms, but I couldn't help it, you guys. I had to come here and go over this Psalms because these are very juicy series. If anyone had a chance to read over them, How Divinely Guided, Jiggy. Did anyone get the opportunity to review that Psalms or just scan it? You probably not because we have a lot of books over there. So let me not ask you that because some of you is like, no, Miss Penny, I'm on the last other resource you just gave me. Oh my gosh. Okay. Some of you guys are probably saying that. I know Seeker I know is always at me saying, hey, Miss Penny, I'm still on these other two books. Okay. But this is a great resource, and I think the magical this book particular here, this series breaks down Psalms in a way to help you feel it, to help, and that's important too. I've talked about that in our community. It's important for you to be able to feel your work. I can't emphasize that enough. I can't. That is the big thing. It's a one thing to say it, okay, but to mean it and stand in it with all your being. And that's the most important thing, components when it comes to your work. Do not dismiss the power of your emotions and your feelings in your work. That's why you hear me say, hey, that emotional regulation need to be intact. We need to be feeling the work. You're gonna hear this over and over again when you go through your studies. That's why I'm pointing this out. And sometimes people can miss this. You get so caught up in your head that you can't really get grounded in the work or your magic. And that's feeling the outcome and those intense feelings of happiness and joy. Really getting back into your feelings. Hi, Oshan Yemi. Welcome, 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 TikTok family. Welcome, 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 YouTube family. So that's important to be able to again tap into your mode, your mood, your vibes, being able to shift those vibes. That's going to be important. That's why I'm telling you to go to your altar when you're feeling crappy or whatever, because again, we're gaining more control over our emotions, and we're allowing these energies in a subtle way to heal those parts of ourselves. That's what happens when you start working with angels. They help you with shifting and heal, our nervous system. I'm gonna put it that way. That's that's what the power is if we can feel the thing. You will notice too, because I'm getting you slow down, that a lot of your energy is being triggered through your reactions. So a lot of our most potent energy is being manipulated and deceived and being triggered, and it leaks out different areas. I hope I haven't lost you. Okay. That's what's happening. So once we gain more awareness of where this energy is going, and we're being more intentional about how we use it, and we're reserving it, the better results we're going to get. But a lot of your energy is being manipulated through your emotions. I hope this making sense and I'm not losing you guys, because all of this works together, you guys. So I'm trying to slow it down. And this gets missed sometimes. This gets missed. Okay. This gets missed, but like I've explained, a lot of these spirits, your ancestors, they're going to speak through your intuition, through your feelings, through your thoughts. If you clairvoyance, you might pick up images. But this is the subtle language of spirit. And then understanding how your energy works. This is how your energy works. Understand that you're a spirit, and this is how your energy works. Your mouth and your feelings got to be aligned up. You got to be lined up with the magic in mind, body, and spirit, emotionally and mentally. You have to be lined up with the word. You can't be angry and doing love something love magic. That ain't gonna get the job done, is it? You got to feel love in order to do the love spell. So being able to harm, and the more intensely, the more control you have over those emotions, and you can bring them in your work, because they're really moving the work. And when you line that up with your thoughts and intentions, you'll see uh, more results. That's why you will hear me say healing is necessary in this, because some of our emotions are frozen. They are. You won't know, beloved, until you start loving on yourself and see how hard it is to love yourself. Some of us are not as self aware as we think we are. And our ancestors, they understood too, that these were spirits jumping in and out of these people in their environment. So they were very aware, um, spiritually, how their energy was being drained and used and manipulated. They're very aware of that. Okay. So let's go into the book of magical Psalms. And I put some notes here. And there were some things that jumped out in some of these series that I wanted to go over with you. Okay, so let me go in my notes. At first glance, the Book of Magical Psalms, Badass Ancestors, and Libations may appear to address different spiritual territories, sacred speech, ancestral archetypes, because we want to go over that, and ritual offerings. So we're going to go over libations as well. But beneath the surface, these books are in deep conversation with one another. Together, they form a complete spiritual technology rooted in diasporic consciousness, hoodoo praxis, and mystical cosmology. Words activate power, ancestors shape identity, and offerings sustain the relationship between the worlds. Okay, so let's look at the book of magical psalms. um, Again, it opens with the premises that feels deceptively simple, but it's profoundly radical. Words are alive. Okay, so when we put emotions and again mood and intent and energy into the words, um, they begin to move. Just like you will see actors when they go over the script, they go over and over the script until they put emotions behind the words, and then we believe it behind the screen. Does that make sense? Because some of those movies that you see, they just be so real. You be like, oh my gosh. Okay. The same thing with your magic. And you will hear some people say, oh, it's sort of an acting. So the same thing when you're saying these psalms, taking the time to slow down and feel it. That's why I say, people can tell you what Psalms to read. However, if it doesn't resonate and it doesn't ignite any energy within you or any is you can't connect it with your work, you probably need to be studying some of these scriptures on your own. Or let your ancestors lead you to the scripture they want you to use in the particular working if you're using your Bible. But we definitely use Psalms in there. Okay? They are not merely symbolic, they are operative forces that move through the body, the psyche, and the spiritual realm simultaneously. So you have to open your mouth here. Okay? Opening your mouth, going to your altar. I know some people say, I don't like talking to myself. You are not talking to yourself. You are not talking to yourself when you go to your altar, I assure you. If you take a moment to sit still and be quiet after you have, verbalized your petition or you've had a conversation with your ancestors and just start sensing, you might sense a presence. But some of us, it's hard for us to sit still long enough to get these messages, or we dismiss the messages because they are so subtle. It's not going to be like you see on Hollywood, okay? Or we do not have a divination for to get guidance. So we go over divination too in our community as well. Go over that thoroughly because you're gonna have to have one if you're going to be communicating with spirits or with your higher self for that, that matter. Okay. The practitioner is instructed to whisper phrases repeatedly, not to analyze them intellectually, but to feel them. In this book, in this series book, I love this book because this book, the way it's written, is written from a hoodoo perspective. You go read these books, these Psalms books, and it is broken down to use the Hebrew alphabet because the Hebrew alphabet has vibrations and frequencies that can help your work as well. So we go over these, we also went over sigils and seals. And I think in one of our books, it talks about these Hebrew alphabets. I forgot which book we had, but we talked about the Hebrew alphabet and how they hold different energies and are connected with different psalms and can amplify your work. We're talking about hoodoo here. Now, we cover hoodoo without all the fluff. And this is why I recommend no one show you a spell Okay? Because there's a lot going on here. If they fully understand hoodoo and they're doing it right, they're going to be using this, what they call, quote unquote, this traditional hoodoo method. Okay, we're not the only one that use it as well. You will see this in some other folk magic practices as well. But this is some of the this Jewish mysticism. This is some of the spiritual technology we use in hoodoo. Okay, have I lost anyone? Do you fully understand what I'm saying here? So even here in this book, I think these are great. It's a great resource. And I do know in our community we have other books that cover Psalms as well. We have studied Psalms, and again, the my thing is to give you as many resources because people learn differently. So when I'm able to come there and offer you a variety of resources to help you learn more about your practice and the approach to hoodoo, uh, I think that's a wonderful thing because I know everyone learns differently. And sometimes I'll speak about these topics more than one time. Okay. I've been watching your videos recently, newer subscriber, grateful to be here. I've been studying hoodoo for some years and now, but uh my ancestors want me back in the word for my hoodoo work. Yes. Okay. We definitely go over Psalms, and I think that's something you should do for yourself because you need to be able to understand those words and feel those words. Okay. Only you can interpret what those scriptures mean to you. You have to be able to feel them. This is crucial. Rather than dissecting language with the rational mind, the book invites the reader to let words sink into the depths of the self. This method aligns directly with the, again, Kabbalistic teachings, which emphasize unification of the inner and outer world. Meaning does not arise through mental effort alone, it reveals itself through embodied resonance. You have to be able to resonate and align yourself with the work. It's very important feeling it, not just sitting up saying it. Do you feel it? Are you in alignment with it? Yes, I am so happy right now. Hi, Miss Penny. Hi, Gerald. How you doing? Okay. So reading the words, reading the scriptures, and being able to feel it. What does it mean to you? Hi, Dales. Hi, Seekers of No. Hello, welcome TikTok family. Welcome YouTube family. Hi, Tina. Hi, my Hoodoo Spiritual Roots community. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys, and you guys know I will go over these book reviews even though you guys get lectures in there. I'm very thorough. I try to be as thorough as possible to help you understand the practice. It does you no good to um, do a spell and don't understand the practice. The practice is more important than the spell. In fact, if you understand the practice, you wouldn't have to do as many spells. Okay? Hoodoo is more than just magic. Okay? It's more than that. And we take you into the resources of understanding what it is. Now you have to be able to feel your work. And that's important. Reading a passage in its entirety, pausing and only afterward allowing understanding to surface, fulfills a core mystical principle. Gnosis precedes cognition. Again, we're going to be resonating with the word. We have to fully understand what those scriptures saying and embody what it's saying because now we are becoming the God. You are creating the change that you want. Now, it's important for you to be in alignment with your work as well because you've heard me say that's why healing is important. Now, if you know you blocked and you can't feel that emotions, you can't really feel happiness, you can't really feel joy, you can't really feel it, you can't really, then there's some healing that needs to go on. Okay, there's some healing that needs to go on. And that's okay. It's not your fault. That's why our ancestors, that's why hoodoo was created to remove blocks, to provide healing in mind, body, and spirit. That's what hoodoo is. It'll heal your mind, it'll heal your body, it'll heal your spirit if you let it. It- If you follow the work and do the work, you will see results. And understanding what the work is. The work is beyond the little spell that you that express the work that you're doing, because that's what the spell is. The spell is a ritual for the work that you're doing behind it. That ain't gonna work if you just, you know, you're not doing any inner alchemy. The inner alchemy, the mind, body, and emotion, it's just not lined up with the work. Do you understand what I'm saying? Spell ain't gonna do you no good if you're not lined up with it. I'm not saying it's your fault, but I'm saying you should be aware. Welcome, welcome to you, Miss Penny. It's an enlightenment blessing to be here in this live chat tonight. I am thankful for your teaching. My daughter Oshun is loving your knowledge. Thank you so much, Lamar Curtis. Okay, so you need to learn to practice and not to spell. The spell is not more important than the practice. And hoodoo can grow as, you know, your hoodoo journey, the way we have it set up in our community. Again, we want you to grow as wide as you want to in your practice. It is meant to give you results. So those sense in me, us, and do we go over rituals and spells? Yes. And will you be doing them? Yes, through the guidance of your ancestors and not me showing you nothing, with your ancestors guiding you intuitively through your work. They'll let you know how your magic should look. No one else should dictate that but you and your ancestors. Will it look like somebody else's work? Probably not. And I love when your work doesn't look like anybody else's work and your ancestors lead you through it. That's the best work. Doesn't mean it's not hoodoo. It just means it's your magic. Ever since I received my blueprint from you, I haven't been focusing on my lower altars. Okay, what you been focusing on? I should put them away. If you have not got your ancestral veneration together and a relationship with your ancestors, I would focus on that first. That's crucial before you jump into any ATR or anything like that, beloved. Um, get your ancestral veneration together. Tap into your ancestral magic first, something that was already given to you. Hoodoo is, you know, they say hoodoo is not an ATR, but I can beg to differ with all the work we have to do and all the things we have to learn about the practice. We do have to learn. You do have to sit down and learn if you want to see results in your practice. Okay, you do. I have my ancestor altar up. I would say, hey, clear water, calling on your most elevated ancestors. If you're in our community, um, you know, we recommend again calling on our most healthiest elevated ancestors, being consistent in that work, going to that altar and talking to them. And they love when you heal. They love when you heal. You get more results like that. These spirits are not interested. And a lot of people, they get in here and they think, "Oh, when I get over here, I'm going to be so psychic. I'm going to be so powerful. I'm going to be so rich." But the truth of the matter is these spirits are interested in you tapping into your own inner alchemy. They're interested in you building your character. Okay, they know self mastery is true power. and helping you getting to recognize that that's inside of you. They're not too much now, will it result in you creating living in a magical reality where you can manifest things? Absolutely. Because now you're realizing who you are. They're more interested in that. A lot of people saying they're trying to get material things through spirits, but the way they have taught me, I'm telling you from experience. I'm telling you from experience. Do they help you with your everyday needs, your ancestors? Yes, 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 yes. But their goal is to help you with your everyday needs. And if you want that to grow, that's going to require inner work, self mastery. I don't know anyone that's getting out of it. It takes some discipline and consistency with them and working on you. Actually, the blueprint have been great for me. Okay, all right. So again, you know, do the work. Don't sleep on that. Across magical traditions, speech has always been regarded as a creative, destructive force. Your mouth is the most powerful thing in your work. You want to watch how you use it. I can't, I can't, I can't emphasize this enough. Don't please, if you get into this practice, that's why I say it's a way of life. You want to watch what you're talking about and how you're talking about it. Okay? You really do. You're gonna be guarding your tongue because now you the creator. You moving stuff with your tongue. Now you can't be, you know, I can't tell you this enough. You are not like everybody else. You are self-aware. If you are in people that practice magic, especially long time practitioners, they understand this. You are not like it. You can't just your mouth cannot be like that, okay? Because you're creating magic with your mouth. When you say stuff, you create, you attract. You're aware of that, okay? You can't be like that. So you really have to again start guarding your tongue very well, because creating the magic. I got to get you looking like that because everything was born from the word. Now you are acting as the God and creating your magical reality. You understand that. That's why I say most people that understand this, and they will say, you have heard people too. I had to be almost delusional to tap into my magic. Many of them live in a magical reality. My video about contagious magic is blowing up a little bit on TikTok. Okay, it's blowing up a little bit. But these people, and you'll see, I believe that about the Obeah man and the older elders that live out in rural areas. I believe they live in a magic reality, and when you come in contact with them, their work is contagious. I believe that that is how a lot of our magic got passed down. I can only talk from my experience when I have done hoodoo in my family, and it worked. You know, because they were teaching me and showing me stuff. It was tripping me out, especially my experience with my mother's boyfriend and the dog in the yard. I can feel that energy coming off him being directed on me. So there is, again, you do have people like that. And that's why a lot of these practitioners that are very experienced, they're not around a lot of people. They don't publicize themselves. You won't hear a lot about them. Somebody will have to show you to them or take you to them. And sometimes you can have contagious magic yourself and not even realize it. You can be unaware. You might um discover that as you begin to tap into yourself. Okay. You have some people that go into these covens or these organizations. Somebody brought that up in one of my videos. You'll have some people that go into these covens and they're trying to discover themselves. They don't know themselves. They know they're working with some talents. They know they have some gifts. They're not really sure about who they are, but they're highly gifted and other people can see that. But you can't see that in yourself. And immediately, uh, you'll be on target about a lot of your, your spiritual experiences, and they know that, and they'll use that to their benefit, and then convince you that, you're not quite there yet, even though they see all this talent within you. You'll see it, and some of them will gatekeep you. Okay. um they will do that, and you might not even know that you're tapped. That's why I say it is good to have a good relationship with your most beloved elevated ancestors, your spirit guides, before you think about going into a organization like that, especially a religion. Okay. Did you say contagious magic? Yeah, I said contagious magic. There's such thing as contagious our ancestors had that, because a lot that's how it was passed on through familiar. So you'll see that a lot in familiar, or through apprenticeship. It can be passed on that way. Okay. I Miss Penny. Hi, Cosan. Well, yes, hearing it explained like this makes much more sense for me where I'm at and what I need. Okay. I'm glad you're getting some out of it. Okay. So again, contagious, and you might have that. You might not know that you have it. Um, you may not even know that you have it until you start looking at yourself and stop looking outside yourself. That's why I get you to looking at yourself. That's important. Stop looking at other people, because the magic is in you. It's not in anyone else or what they can show you. It's in you. Okay, tapping into you, getting to know you, how you function, how your energy functions. The more you know about you and how your energy function, the better your magic is going to be. I promise you that. Okay? But it's going to take work. A lot of people don't want that work, and they want a magic spell to fix it, but it don't work like this, sweetheart. It does not. This is such a valuable advice, Miss Penny. So appreciated, saving us so much hurt. I really am. I don't want you to get in here and start, my goal is here is for you to understand the practice, and for you go into it with clarity, and and have this spiritual relationships, because hoodoo is all about spiritual relationships, especially one with your ancestors. You're going to need some spiritual support and allies when you're doing this work. Okay. So getting you to understand that, so you can approach that with clarity, so you can understand the practice. Spell is not going to work if you don't understand the practice. And you need to know where it comes from. What is the power of it? The core and power of it is ancestral veneration. It is no way around that. It is an ancestral magic. It is an ancestral spiritual practice. It is not a religion. You can practice hoodoo in any religion. It doesn't matter. Their religion, hoodoo is only gonna amplify the religion. It's gonna make it better. That's what hoodoo do. You can be Buddhist, you can be whatever, whatever, and still practice hoodoo. It doesn't matter. Okay? You can be under any spiritual system, ATR, whatever, and still practice hoodoo. Hoodoo is, and it gets grows and it expands and it advances. Wherever you are, it may look different, but it doesn't mean it's not hoodoo. As long as the ancestors are front and center, it's still hoodoo. Long as your ancestors are front and center and leading you, in your practice, it's still hoodoo. It doesn't have to look like anybody else's stuff. That's what's great about it. It's your ancestral magic passed on to you. Do it have some standard components in it? Yeah. It keeps it's together. Okay. So let me move on here. The sages warn that even the curse of an ordinary person carries weight, and Hoodoo echoes this truth. The mouth is a crossroads. So be careful with your mouth. Be careful what you're talking about, what you're entertaining, because now your mouth is a portal. It is a creating things for you. You want to guard it. I tell you don't know how you crossing yourself up until you start becoming self-aware of your thinking and what's coming out your mouth and how it's coming out your mouth. That's that. I can't express. I did it. It's not your fault. Not your fault. Not our fault. But really slowing things down. I know you're saying you don't have time. Yes, you do. That's where these people is getting. That's where this fake reality is getting you, messing with your time, making you think you don't have time. Yes, you do. Please slow down. Please take care of yourself. Please heal yourself. Please ask yourself questions. Because the more you can go inward and discover things about yourself, the better your magic is going to be. This is true alchemy. People talking about, oh, I do alchemy. Do you really? You know how to shift your mood? Do you have control over yourself, your emotions? Have you worked on you? Shadow work is inner alchemy. They calling it different names. It's ancestors work. It's inner alchemy. Because truly nothing on the outside would change if the inside is not changed. Your inside, the outside is a reflection of your reality. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a magical reality within you. You might have to get a little delusional to get there. I don't call it delusional. I call it really waking up to understanding energy and how it works in our field and how we need to shift it. Okay, that's what I call it. Vows and curses in particular are treated as contracts with the spirit world. A vow sworn by life of a child or a curse spoken with intent is not metaphorical. It is an invitation, even a command to the spirits. The book does not moralize this power, but it does insist on the responsibility. Every power, incantation, or adjuration moves toward either the Bolivians or the Malivians' intentions determination of the outcome. So you can be mad at somebody and you can say some things. That's why I said when people are gossiping and stuff and they put emotions behind it, they are attracting lower negative energies and things like that that may show up for you as jinx energy, where you have a run of bad luck or little things begin to happen to you. See, and the people don't really think about gossip in that way, but it is, you get a group of people together and putting emotions and stuff behind it. Again, you can hurt someone. Your words is power. I know they say sticks and stones will hurt. Sticks and stones will hurt my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie. Your words are creating. They are attracting. You know. And somebody doing that, you need to hurry up and shut them down. Now, I do believe in shutting them down and shutting them up. It's necessary if that's going on. I've had to do that before and just say, hey, these people, they don't even realize the power of, what they got going on. So now I got to shut them up. Okay. I got to shut them up and get me off the topic. Or, you have to put wards on your name and shift energy and things like that where there's no repercussions from you. Or return the senders. People got all kind of creative ideas when it comes to how they address that work. But you will have that. That's why I said these people, they don't understand the power of the words, the spirits that they are calling on when they're having this discussion. Now, is it their fault? I'm not blaming them, but when you know better, you know the work you have to do. You know what you're looking at. That's why I tell you, you're not like everybody else. So stop trying to be friends with them and everything else. I can't tell you, yeah, this is going to be a lonely road once you wake up and start seeing how these spirits move. Yes, it's going to be I'm not going to tell you you're going to have a lot of friends. No, you are not, because you're going to be seeing these spirits use these people. Okay? You're gonna really understand how these spirits how these spirits jump into these people and how they've been impacting you. You say you want to see, you want to understand the practice. And I think the most important thing before you jump into magic is learning about spiritual warfare, learning about spiritual protection, learning about cleansing, because that's going to come up. You need to understand how these spirits operate within people. Okay, we get you on that first. That's the first thing I want you to understand. Learning the spell or anything like that is not going to do you no good if you don't know how to protect and cleanse and understand spiritual warfare or even the energies, the contrast that could, prevent your spell from manifesting. This is why we calling our ancestors. This is why we're calling on angels because they cleared the way for our work so it doesn't get tainted. And when we are not indulging in those negative vibrational, lower vibrational energies like that, we stay clean and aligned with our work. That's why I tell you, don't, be careful about your friends and stuff and what you're talking about, what you're doing. Your whole diet, energy diet. There needs to be an energy diet going on. That's the best terms I can put it into. You gonna have to be really uh be aware. It's in order to hoodoo. If you want to do it properly, it is. Okay? And you don't see the other stuff that's going on the background where we're doing this work. We probably are working with our ancestors so deeply and doing some healing work, probably even fasting. Some people are working with angels. The spell is nothing but an expression of the back work that is going on. I'm telling you now. Now that people can show you that, but there's work behind that. And once I show you the work behind the expression and you see yourself get results, you're gonna be looking at me like you're gonna be looking at me, we're gonna be looking at each other crazy. Okay? It's the only way I don't have words for it because the results you see. Okay? I don't even have a word for it. People are calling this magic, but I don't know. Okay, you have relationship with spirits. I definitely know none of this works without the assistance of your ancestors and having a good relationship with these spirits and being in alignment with it. I definitely know that. Okay, I had to learn it the hard way. I'm trying to make it easy for you. Okay, and I want really understanding magic and um how to tap into your power, and you'll see this. I'm not making it up. You know, and I know no one is talking about it in this way, but I take you to the resources where we have experienced authors, experienced practitioners are sharing their experience with you on how it works. And it's an ongoing thing is you, work on you, work on you, work on you. These spirits like to, your self-development. They love for you to start healing. They love for you to have self-care. It's the same theme over and over and get your mind right, get your emotions right. It's the same theme over and over again. Okay? Your ancestors said the same thing over and over again. So I don't know why it's been skipped. I can't help that. I'm grateful. Thank you, Miss Penny. You're welcome. I can't help that. I can't give you the fluff. Hi, what's the name of the book of Psalms you're suggesting? It's called the book of magical psalms. It's a series of them. I think it's like three of them. Okay, so that's what it's going to recommend. It's going to recommend that every time. There's no way around it. I'm sorry that it's not uh being addressed there. Someone is showing you a spell and they're not sharing the practice. The practice is not being shared enough. Okay, we're doing work over here. I don't know. We're doing work. Anyone that is doing any type of magic or anything like that, a lot of us are doing work over here. I don't care what they're seeing, you're seeing over there. You are not seeing the backstage. what's going on in the backstage, because folks is pushing back plates, and um, they are praying. They're getting up early in the morning. Some of us, okay, there's some type of devotion going on there to move the work along. All right, and then we have to then we stand back and watch it happen after we put in the work. But it's not, hey, I got to take the fluff out of it so you'll know. Okay. One of the most striking aspects of the first Psalm series is it focused on practical healing. The use of Psalm 1 to stop hemorrhaging, including the instructions to write the psalm and suspend it around the neck of the afflicted. Now, I love this in this book, in these books, because they had a lot of workings. What was that book we went over, y'all? It was a book that we went over, and I've heard this before, that our ancestors knew how to stop hemorrhaging through the use of psalms. I think I saw it in another one of our other books. I think it was the Mountain Conjure book, Appalachian Mountain Conjure book. But the person in there, the author in there, was talking about how his father knew how to stop hemorrhaging, and his grandmother, his mother, knew the secret, and she the only one knew how to do it, and she had passed it on to him. And I was like, what was the scripture? What was he? I don't think he mentioned it in the book, but here in this book, it tells on how to do that ritual. So I thought it's a really go over these books, because when I was reading, I was like, oh my God, this is some of the stuff, some of the rituals that in our hoodoo practice that our ancestors use. So really go over that. The Book of Magical Psalms. Thank you, Seeker. No, he just be saving my life. I'm so grateful, ancestors, for him. The Book of Magical Psalms, Part 1, Shadow Tree Series, Volume 5, by Jacobus G. Swart. Thank you so much. He just be saving my life. I appreciate him so much. He's such a blessing. Okay. So those books, he just put that in the TikTok chat if there's something that you're interested in. But there are real rituals in there. This what happens when we start reading and researching and looking at things for ourselves and understanding the practice. We need to understand it for ourselves and really studying the Psalms. But I think these books are great. These particular books are great books in helping you expose you to the rituals that our ancestors used with the Psalms, and helping you understand how the Psalms work. I know we got other books too. We've got a lot of books on Psalms. We got a lot of books on Bible magic over there, because our ancestors use a lot of Bible magic. It's a grimoire. We don't look at it as a religious text. It is a grimoire. Take Christianity out of it. Okay. It is not a religion. Hoodoo is not a religion. It is a spiritual practice. We use what works. Okay. That's always worked. So I thought that was really a good ritual. The use of Psalms 1 to stop hemorrhaging, including instructions to write the psalm, suspended it around the neck of the afflicted, situates the work firmly in the historical conjure traditions. This echoes practices discussed in texts like Mountain Conjure and the Shemush Tulahim, where scriptures becomes medicine, talisman, and spell all at once. And so you will see them too. That's why I tell you, hoodoo is more than just magic. They were using this to save their lives, and not just you know they were using this spiritual technology to save their lives, to treat people, to heal people as well. Like I said, and hoodoo would start looking shamanic. I had one young lady to me. She said, "Why my ancestors got me doing shaman stuff?" I started laughing because I resonated with that. I said that same thing happened to me. They'll start having you doing path working and journey work. You'll start having more spiritual experiences with them. Okay? It's going to start looking like that. They'll start showing you stuff in meditation and path working. That's when the real magic happens. And when that happens, I have to get you to understand and know you are not making this up. Your imagination is the key and door into the spiritual realm. The more you heal and begin to create that inner world, the more you'll start trusting your experience in it. But keep practicing it, documenting what happens in there. You'll be surprised what your mind can do. I know these people, they telling you your mind is very powerful. It has a lot of answers in it. But we don't take the time to sit down with ourselves and let it unfold. It knows what to do. It is connected to a higher consciousness. And when you choose to interface with that, then the magic happens. Okay? And a lot of this is being messed up through TV and visualization and social media. But you're gonna have to really look at your energy diet and be more aware of your energy and how you use it. Okay. Beyond physical healing, this series excels at teaching practitioners how to form petitions, not just what to ask for, but how to ask in a way that aligns speech, spirit, and intentions. So I like this these series because it breaks down, not just telling you, hey, say this psalm, say this psalms, say that psalms. I think a lot of that is just going on there. You're saying it, but this book really tells you about the magic behind it and how the technology works. I hope that made sense. I'm trying to word this in a way to help y'all understand, so you'll know it. You'll know how to approach it. But definitely use scriptures and things that resonate with your spirit, that activates and get your uh, emotions initiated in the work. We want to be fully immersed in the work like we're acting. If you need to act it and channel that energy, do that too. They do it on TV all the time right there in front of your face. Okay? You're channeling that energy to make it real to you. I need you to feel it. They do it in songs as well. If it's a song that can help you do that, use music. Okay, repeating phrases. But we need to tap into that. And if you're having problems, the only way I can see you having problems, and if you have a good practice and you consistent in your practice, and you've been doing this, and you find yourself not getting the results that you want, then there's something that needs to heal. Something you probably need to look at. Okay, and usually that's the issue when we say, "Oh, something, it's not working. I've done this and I did that." Well, okay, maybe we need to stop and slow down and really slow down and do the healing. And that's what a lot of people don't want to do. We used to having things fast, fast, fast. If you working with spirit, if you're expecting that, no, that's not gonna always happen. No, 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 no. Things unfolds. Things start to shift. That's really how magic work. It unfolds and shifts. And sometimes it'll unfold and shift in front of your face and you don't even know what's happening. It's happened to me a lot of times. I don't even know it worked. But then, because you know, it be working and you don't know it worked. Sometimes you'll see a shift right there in front of your face. It'll trip you out. Okay. So again, letting it unfold, uh, and keeping yourself open to the results. The results may not look. Don't have too many expectations of how it unfolds. Let me say that, and how it shifts. Magic it just it's going to take the most magic when it unfolds and you get results. It's going to take the path of least resistance. Does that make sense? So you have no control. Once you set the intentions, you have really no control of how it unfolds. And I think that gets people too. When you have expectations on how it is going to look or unfold and shift for you. Okay. It's going to work and then accepting, that's the way it unfold. And it gets better and better. Um as you learn more. Like I said, this is a practice. No one knows everything. I don't know everything, but I do know the basics. I got a really solid foundation when it comes to this. Okay. I'm very secure about ancestor veneration. Very secure about how to work with angels. Know they're very real. Know the ancestors are real. I'm telling you through experience. And then I show you the resources, not just my experience, but a recurring people's story about their experience. All of our experiences almost similar, not always alike, but they're sort of similar. I like how the book has the index of magical application. I see some of the issues I'm going through right now. I got to start reading this one today. Okay, okay. And again, we're going to slow down too in our community. I'm probably going to do a poll in there. I really want to work with you guys more closely. So I'm thinking next year, you guys, we've covered a lot of resources. And I think meetings and discussions will help some of us. So I'm going to do a poll in there and see how you guys want that community to look for you guys, because I'm there to support you. And we have a lot of resources. And some of you are brand new and you're catching up. And I want to slow you. I'll slow down a little bit before we start posting more resources, because we have what, over 500 resources. 500. Got a lot of resources over there. Okay. So I probably need to slow it down a little bit and start meeting with you guys and start listening to your experiences and your goals. So I'm going to do a poll on there and see what's going to work for our community over there. Y'all, you guys let me know what you need. And we'll be probably doing it at the top of the year. Okay, the second series is all about inner alchemy, the divine self. The second series of the Book of Magical Psalms turns inward, guiding the practitioner through, again, to inner alchemy, divine self realization, drawing heavily on the Kabbalistic cosmology. It introduces the 10 secrets of attributes of divine creative power that are mirrored within the human being. Now, that's one thing. Now, we went over Kabbalah and we talk about the tree of life. In the tree of life, I'm gonna make it simple as I can, because you'll hear this being brought up in hoodoo. I don't hear a lot of people talk about this, but you guys know I'm nerdy, so I will talk about it because we cover it, and because Jewish mysticism is in hoodoo as well. It's in our folk magic. So the secrets in the tree of life is all about going into these different energies and aspects within ourselves to gain these inner characteristics. Okay, the real jewels, the inner jewels where the inner alchemy happens. And usually the secrets are approached, I like to approach them through the archangels, helping you gain those attributes, helping you master yourself, and do a lot of healing. Okay, and some people also do Kabbalah path working, where they do the path working and go through all the secrets through path working and meditations. You can do it that way as well. And the goal in the path working in the tree of life is to reach um, the most highest spiritual ascension, which is the Shekinah glory, or the Christ self. But at the top of that tree is the divine feminine. There is no way around that. That's what's happening here. Now, my opinion, and I'm gonna go on. I'm kind of get on my soapbox a little bit with this, you guys. I've went over the tree of life and where it comes from, Zohar, and how it has been, that tree of life has been reconstructed many times, and there's different trees of life. We show that when we go into the Egyptian Pantheon, because there's also uh, a tree of life that presents the divine feminine attributes. And so the new tree of life, the Kabbalah you're seeing now, is the one that the Abrahamic Jews created for themselves. Basically, that's what I'm saying. I'm so sorry. I got to bust bubbles and things like that right here. Now, if you choose, I'm not saying it doesn't work because there is benefits in it because they got it from the divine feminine. They just reconstructed it for themselves. If you want to take that route and do the path work in that way, you're absolutely welcome to do that. And it does help you. I think looking at Kabbalah helps us understand the inner alchemy that the journey starts within, that the magic of realities that we're trying to create starts within and not outside of ourselves. Did I lose anyone? Because Kabbalah is in Jewish mysticism is in hoodoo. That's why we're looking at the Psalms. We look at Solomonic magic. We're looking at the seals. We're looking at the sigils. All of that is in there. And a lot of us use that in our, some of us lose the more traditional ones are probably going to be using a lot of Solomonic magic, psalms, sigils, and seals. That's traditional hoodoo. That's why we cover it, and it's beneficial. Okay, so that we do have Jewish mysticism in there. I want to show you that, tell you that. So that's why we cover that. Okay. Let's see. The critical shift, magic is no longer something done to the world. It is something cultivated within the self, then reflected outward. Love, fear are identified as the most basic emotional forces through which humans interact with reality. Emotions, therefore, is not a weakness to be overcome, but a key when we know how to use them. I think this happens a lot with men. Um, Not picking on men. I'm not picking on you. I'm not picking on you. I think this happens a lot with men because what I noticed, with a lot of them, even some of our metaphysical um men in our the men that are metaphysicians in our community, they tend to intellectualize everything. And I got to get you out your head into feeling. You got to be able to feel. Even in their, you could pick some of it up in some of their literature that they're not really feeling, they're really intellectualizing it versus when you again come in contact with some of the women metaphysician, it's more about experience, it's more about feeling, it's more about creativity versus when men kind of discuss these spiritual things, it's going to be more on the intellectualized logical side versus women that's going to be talking about the experience, uh the creativity and intuitive side of it. Does that make sense? Really pay attention on the delivery, you know, the discussions on some of these spiritual topics and how they approach it. Because I find that, and that's, I have to tell my thing to men and my message to men, get out of your head. I think one author, he saw that in his book, one of the angel books we read, he noticed he was teaching his students how to tap into this angelic frequency and telling them what to feel. He saw them getting more results than him. He was like, "How is that? How are they getting faster, better results than me?" And so he got to talking to them and asking them about their experience, and he figured out that he was missing his feelings. He was missing investing his emotions in his magic. And when he started putting that in there, he got better results with communicating with ancestors. I mean, with angels. It's in our DNA makeup to be more logical and analytical. We can't help it. I know women are more creative and can feel more. That's why your magic comes off quicker. You can do it though, okay? And my thing is, getting in touch with you guys, divine feminine, because that's where you're from. Understanding that that's where you are from. And I know this society doesn't give men a lot of room or bash men for even honoring the divine feminine. But the more you do that, the better things are going to flow for you. Okay? More you do that. I mean, even if you have to just, if you have any daughters, your mother Really look at them and how you love them, and how, at some point your mother was the all-knowing God in your life. Okay? So, again, man, tap into your feelings, your emotions. Be willing to feel. Okay? It's not irrational to feel. And question the feelings, because that's what's going to really move it along. Okay? It's going to be moving along. It doesn't mean that you're weak. You're more powerful if you can, the more you can identify and feel your emotions in a full range without feeling like you're going to be overwhelmed, the more powerful your work is going to be, the more power you tap into. And people want to tap into power, but you can't tap into power if you're not willing to master self. True power comes from self mastery. It doesn't come from another deity or outside of you. It comes from self mastery. It don't come from nobody can give it to you. And believe me, these spirits gonna make sure you earn it. If you're again in connection and communication in the relationships with these higher frequencies, there's certain things you're not gonna be able to do until they see you have done some inner work, that you have removed some blocks. I don't care what these people show you. Okay, I don't care what they show you. These spirits, and I don't know, y- you're when they're calling it magic. But my thing with that is the magic ain't working without the spirits. I can't read any resource or anything like that where someone is telling me magic is working without spiritual help, without a saint, an angel, or ancestor. I can't read anything. I have to show you that. So that's why tell people, is it just really magic though? Because yeah, some of you guys need to tell the truth. What spirit are you working with when you're doing this spell? What ancestor you're working with? Some type of elevated ancestors. You're working with an angel. You're working with the deity. You're working with some type of higher frequency energy or spirit doing a spell. You're not doing it alone. And the next time someone comes shows you a beautiful little spell that just melts your little heart, ask them, what spirit are you using to do that work? Don't just do it. Ask them what's more likely they're not going to tell you that. If they're wise, they probably won't tell you and let you figure it out on your own. But they would definitely show you that work though. Okay? I don't know any practitioner or anyone's not using. That's why I have to, say, is it really magic though? The spell is nothing but the ritual that expresses the work that is going on behind the scene. It's nothing but a symbol, you know, the intention behind the work. There is more stuff going on behind the scenes, you guys. Okay? People are doing divinations. They're making sure the work is going to be clear, how the spirit is going to help them manifest it. They're having steps in moving the work along. Believe me. Okay? Won't tell you no lie. That's why I'm here to dismantle all the fluff. It's a lot of misconceptions going on there. And I don't, it's just some of it's not right. I have to just bring you the truth, basically, and take the fluff out of it. Okay. As a practitioner cultivates the attributes inward wisdom, understanding, compassion, strength, their outer reality begins to respond. This is where a magic starts happening. The archangels in this framework are not distant overseers, but helpers in self development, assisting the practitioner embodying these qualities fully when self mastery is achieved. Access to divine power follows naturally. It's gonna trip you out when you start healing because some things will just start shifting. You'll start saying stuff and it's just start happening. You'll be able to just go to these spirits and talk to them about stuff. You think you got to do a spell, something like this, but you got a relationship with a spirit. You go there and talk to them. I see it with my ancestors all the time. Sometimes I ain't got to do no nothing. Okay, that's why we got relationships. We get friends on the spirit realm. We need somebody watching our back. You understand me? So sometimes you can go to these spirits. Depends you have a relationship, how devoted, committed you are to them. Because these spirits love time. They love time. They love for you to spend a little time with them, have a relationship with them, and talk to them. Oh yeah, they love that. Okay, especially when you're consistent, because they see you're not playing. They see you devoted. They see you committed. And you tell these spirits what's going on with you, you'll start seeing them shift stuff and stuff starts turning out. You be like, oh my gosh, I didn't what? And you won't have to do as much work as you think you're gonna do. You need to do. You think you need to do but the only thing you did is went there and went to their ancestors altar and said to them, hey, I got this problem going on. This got me upset. I don't know what's going on, ancestors, but I need some help. I don't even know what to do. You can be really upset about that's the time to go to, especially if you're upset about it and it's just got you distraught or whatever. Honey, them ancestors, they will become your counselor, your guide, and everything else, honey. You be running to that ancestor altar with every problem you got. You think they be getting tired of you as much as you go there. Okay? You'll be going there, you'll be calling, you'll be going there first before you go pick up the phone and talk to anybody. You'll be running to that altar talking to them. You're gonna feel much better and you might see shifts. I've seen them do it. I didn't ask them to do it. I told them that it was bothering me, how miserable, it hurt, whatever was going on with me. And then I see the problem again, things start to shift out. It just turns out better. I don't have words for it. The way they land, I couldn't have did. It's the way they do things. You couldn't do it the way they do it. So don't even try. That's why you need the spirit to help you. Your little mind can't do it. Just take this. Go ahead and take the L on that. Okay. They can do stuff for you you can't do. They can see stuff you can't see. That's why you need to be talking and telling them what's going on, asking them for help, giving you guidance, opening a way for you, help you understand. This how these spirits they like that come. Again, a friend. The same way you run and tell these people that's trying to manipulate, deceive most of us, jealous of us, and all that stuff, telling them all our business. We need to be talking to these spirits and telling them all our business. That's where we need the help from, not from no person. So do things start unfolding right there in front of your face. It'll trip you out. You won't be talking to a lot of people no more. You be running to them out talking to your spirits. That's where it needs to shift needs to happen. It'll trip you out, your mouth will just be open. I have seen it. Be like, what in it? I couldn't even plan this. Oh my gosh. I didn't do no spell. I was just talking to y'all. I didn't tell you to do anything. Yeah, go ahead and take that L. Yeah, go ahead and take that L because you can't do it. Stop trying to once you stop trying to control stuff and getting upset about stuff and just going to them spirits and telling them what's going on with you, the better your life gonna be. Okay? Okay. Stop crying to folks and go crying to them spirits. Okay, let them know what's going on with you. Ask for assistance, ask for help. They can't help unless you ask, especially when it comes to angels. And the ancestors want to help, but you got to let them know what's going on. They like relationship. Ancestors want you to come to them for help. It's a trip. They want you to, they know what's going on, but they want you to see it. So don't go there with no fluff, you know. Don't go there with no fluff, with no spirit, because they can see right through you. Don't go there with no dramatic, perfect words and all that. That don't. These are your ancestors, okay? They can see right through you. Just be real. You don't have to be dramatic and fancy. All that. Say what's in your heart. Be sincere. These spirits love sincerity. The more sincere you are, the better results you're going to get with spirits. But if you're up here faking and jiving and all that kind of crap, you don't get too far because they can see right through you. The more sincere you are with your intentions, without any fluff, the better results you're going to get because they know you. Okay. Hi, Big Mama. Hi, all. Hi, Shamar Latrice. Yes, my ancestors been cutting up. So again, that they know. So don't go there with no fluff with your ancestors. They don't. It don't have to be theatrical. You need to tell them what's going on with you in the same terms. They were human too. Okay, and they want to know. It's just like talking to family about a bad day. Somehow somebody got you messed up, and you don't play that. Just tell them what's going on with you, and things will turn out in your. You'll have to do. You'll see yourself understanding that all of this is not about magic. It's about having a relationship in the spiritual realm. You go from talk to crying and laughing. That's how it is. When you get on the ancestor and you feel better, you start to feel better. You feel this relationship. When you start doing your ancestral practice like that, you feel a connection with your ancestor. Okay, we're deepening the practice. And I know people say, well, what about evil ancestors? I'm going to slow it down again. We only call on our most elevated, beloved ancestors, the ones that wish us well. We don't have to know their name. We don't have to know their name. We know they're there. We know they exist. Because if they didn't exist, we wouldn't be here. Okay, I told myself I was waking up at 5:45 a.m. for work, snoozed the alarm, and it didn't go off. The lilies on my altar fell over and jumped, scared me out of the sleep. I was going to miss work. Yes. So the ancestors got you up in time for work. They have a funny way, of doing things. And you think they can't reach you from anywhere. Those ancestors, you're thinking of just family. I have to say this again. No, 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 no. Have you guys went over the book Badass Ancestors? Because we're getting ready to go into that. No, 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 no. It's so much vaster than that, and we help you understand that over there. And I think we're doing we need to talk about the vastness of ancestor veneration. Because when we talk about the vastness ancestor veneration, we got to talk about voodoo. We got to talk about the Orisha. We got to that's the vastness of ancestor veneration. None of these ATRs would exist without ancestor veneration. I love ancestor veneration. I love my relationship with the ancestors. I love talking about it and how the ancestors can grow you in your practice and teach you a lot of things. Okay. You can't have any ATR without the ancestors. And I just trip out, when people try to get you initiated and tried to put the spotlight on the religion. And every time they do that, I put it right back on the ancestors. Let's just cut this out because all this is ancestral. Why are we so focused on the religion and not the ancestors? Because the religion would not exist without the ancestors. Praise be the ancestors. May they live on forever and ever and ever. They're forever guiding us, strengthening us, giving us power in this world. We praise be the ancestors. That's what we should be saying. Everyone is not supposed to be initiated into that. This is a priesthood. It's a priest and priestesshood. Everybody is not made to be a priest and priestess. You know that. So, what is the big push with the initiation? All of us in this ancestral. I think the big push is, getting people to work with their ancestors instead of jumping into a practice and they have no relationship with their ancestors. You know, that's my opinion, you guys, not knocking it, but really think about that because that's ancestral. When you get to looking at that, and the ancestors will show you that. Okay. So if somebody their ancestors start showing them voodoo and start showing them it reach how you gonna stop them when all this is ancestral? How you gonna stop them? It's that ancestor veneration is together, and they've been on their journey for 2 or 3 years with their ancestors, and the ancestors start bringing in, let's say Papa Legba, or let's say Ogun. Okay, how you gonna stop them? Because it's in their bloodline. So how you gonna stop it? You can't stop that. Okay? And you gonna tell them they can't do it because of their religion. Do you think their ancestors care about that? You think our ancestors really cared about religion and stopped them from practicing their spiritual practice? So what you think religion gonna stop them from talking to their ancestors? I mean, it's just got to make sense to me, you guys. Okay, I think religion gets us a little crazy. Gets us a little crazy, and we have these mindsets that were forced upon us, and we adopt this same mindsets. That's just my opinion. Because when you first start following the ancestors, I'm telling you, you're gonna be doing stuff. You're gonna hear people say something different. Ancestors gonna be telling you to do something else. You better follow your ancestors. Stop listening to these people. Because even if you were to come to me and say, my ancestors told me to do such and such and such, Miss Penny, what do you think what I should do? I think you should do what your ancestors told you to do. That's what I think. If they telling you to do it, evidently they know what they're doing. You need to follow that. It doesn't matter what I think. What did they tell you? What did you feel? What is your intuition moving you? Okay, if you feel it and you know this is right, go ahead and do it. I'm not going to talk you out of that. I'm not going to talk you out of your intuition because the goal is to trust you and your ancestors, and they speak to you through your intuition. I was told that if I didn't have a Bavita set up, I wasn't connected with my ancestors. What's yours? I don't think that's true. What does your ancestors want you to do? Do they want a Bavita? We do talk about Bovitas and Novenas in our community as a good way for healing and to open up ancestral communication if that's something you feel intuitively moved to do with your ancestors. We do talk about that. But is that what your ancestors want for them? Is that what they want? Forget what other people are doing. Everybody's ancestral practice is not going to look the same. It's not. It's not. It doesn't mean that it's not ancestral veneration. I'm sure my stuff don't look the same, my veneration practice, but the one thing we all got in common, we still talking to them ancestors though, and we putting stuff up there they like. Okay, it ain't gotta look like nobody else. My stuff ain't gonna look like somebody from Asia or India, or somebody else in their prayer. It's not gonna look the same. It's not supposed to. I wouldn't want it to. My if I draw a picture or something, my creative idea, is it supposed to look like yours? If I paint a picture right now out of my own mind, is my picture supposed to look like your picture? No, because we got our mind functions two different ways. We're interface with the higher consciousness in two different ways. We're again have a unique frequency signature. So no, it will not be the same. You know, you, again too, and I think one of my problems, the way I think, and I probably come off, off-putting to other people, is because too I don't have an atypical mind, okay? And I think I don't think I'm the only one. I think most spiritually gifted people, they have a touch of kind of autistic type of personality because I like I said, I'm a very peculiar person, and I come off putting to some people, and it doesn't help the fact that I'm a Sagittarius and got this going on either. It doesn't help. Okay. Uh, but I think like totally different. And with atypical people, they can get caught up in social rules, and I don't get caught up in social rules. I have like a kind of rebel archetype about me, a rebel explorer archetype that I embody. So I don't get and that can be off-putting to atypicals because they have these rules set up, they have these social constructs, and I don't like seeing it because I see it even in the spiritual community. You can see these little cliques that they have. They still have this atypical, kind of thinking and that going on. So I've seen myself in some spiritual communities where I don't fit in because I don't think, you know, these social constructs, I don't vibe with a lot of them. Okay. And that can be, they have me feeling complex at times, sad, mad. I feel a full range of variety of emotions dealing with that, because I've had to wanted to work with some people in my community, but because this atypical mindset with that was there, and I felt like, again, with that, you're there's still some self-awareness to be done there if you're still in these type of mindsets. That's just my opinion. Okay, and they don't work well for me. Okay, because people be trying to get me into those social constructs, and I just can't, and I don't want to do it because that's not right. Even though they're claiming to be spiritual, you can see some of these same constructs and social normalities go up in the spiritual community. Now, am I saying they're wrong, or I'm trying to bash them? No, I just don't think like them. Okay, maybe that works for them, but that doesn't work for me. I just find myself in a pickle when people try to pull me into stuff like that. Okay. Both my parents are mixed. Do some ancestors get upset if you acknowledge different ancestry? I don't think so. No, no. Okay. That's just my thing. And I'm not the only one. I think that happens with, um, it's just my mind works differently. My pattern recognition is different. And with atypical, it's just that, you know, again, when you start healing and start seeing how your mind works and what works for you, again, you start to recognize that and acknowledge yourself and love every part of yourself, even if other people don't accept all of you. You have to do it. Okay. And you might find this within yourself. You start working on yourself and start realizing how you connect with people and how your mind works and accepting who you are. I'm glad I know how my mind works, um and accepting what it is. Is it always pretty? No, it's not always pretty. Okay. It's not always pretty. Between both my parents, the is African, Asian, indigenous, turtle island, Arab. These are your ancestors, beloved. They still your ancestors. We're still gonna call on the most beloved, elevated ancestors. We're gonna call the ones that are the best parts of you. Okay? Thanks so much for answering. I was worried about how that may feel if I acknowledge multiple. No, we're calling on our most elevated, beloved ancestors, that ones who wish us well and that want to work with us. We're very specific. It might be a few of them from each side that come forward and want to guide you. Those are the ones that we're calling on. Okay. They don't have all the hangups that we have here in this realm. They don't have a lot of those spiritual hangups on the other side, a lot of them. Because we're calling on the most elevated. We're not calling on family members, recent family members. We're calling on the most elevated, the holiest, the saints. Okay? As long as I'm clear on that. This series also includes a dreaming working ritual that aligns seamlessly with traditional hoodoo practices. Fasting, intentional silence, and repeated song recitations to create conditions for prophetic dreaming. Dreams are treated as not subconscious noise, but a message from the spirit world requiring discipline and reverence to interpret correctly. Now, what I liked in this series is there is a working in there too to help you with dream work. And so if you're trying to do dream work or interpret dreams, there is a hoodoo working. It's so much hoodoo in this book, in this series. You guys got to watch, look at it, document it, use it, because this is a great resource. But it also talks about using this ritual or this working in here to help you interpret dreams or induce dreams. And I talked a little bit about inducing dreams and dreaming with your ancestors. But if you want to increase your dreams and your with spirits and things like that, one thing I've noticed, the more consistent you are with your ritual, the more often you go to your altar with ritual, the the dreams will start to happen. It will happen if you're consistent on that altar. Say you go in there the same time of day every day, and you trying to contact this angel. You keep doing it every time of day. You may not feel it. You might start feeling things and feeling the presence of whatever. But I tell you, if you can consistently do that, they're gonna start showing up in your dreams. You're gonna start having these them showing up in your dreams if that's what you want. Okay. I've experienced it. I see it. It's again to again the ritual again is programming your subconscious, opening you up to that magical again to the spiritual realm. That's what ritual does. That's what the altar does. The altar is again is shifting that energy in there. You're altering your consciousness. You're altering your mind. You're going into the altar again, a non-ordinary reality to access these spiritual realms. That's what the altar does. And the more you go to that altar and you invoke and petition angels and do work, the more ashe you build up on that altar. Okay, Kosan. Okay. So again, building that again, being consistent with ritual because these spirits like the consistency and they watch you. They're watching you and watching you and watching you. Okay. And then you too, you're giving yourself permission and they're seeing that you're giving them consent to communicate with you. The more consistent you be on that altar with your ancestors, with any spirit of that matter, you're working with any spirit and you want to, excuse me, communicate with them. Ritual consistent devotion is going to be uh essential. Okay, just like if you was getting to trying to get to know a friend or whatever, y'all just start hanging out. Y'all gonna be hanging out a lot together. Y'all gonna be doing stuff together. The only way you can get to know a friend and make y'all gonna be hanging out together, other stuff, maybe lunch and stuff like that, or cooking each other lunch. Doing things together. That's how you're gonna again make friends with spirit. Nothing different that you would do in the spiritual realm. Nothing different. These spirits are watching you and they honor time. They don't really care about, they know time you can't get back. You can always get money, but time, they know that. Okay? And they see you being consistent with your time and steady doing that. Again, they'll start showing up because they have to show up anyway if you're consistent. They see you ain't playing. And don't go with any fluff. If you're going there thinking you're going to manipulate or deceive a spirit, you ain't gonna do nothing, mess yourself up. Give me a moment. I must heal, you guys. Got the sniffle still a little bit, but I've been working on it. Okay. So they see everything. I got to keep that in your face. The third Psalm series moves into the realm of protection and spiritual warfare. Here, the text addresses night spirits, what you call demons, incubus, succubus, and other entities that operate in liminal states of sleep, dreams, and altered consciousness. It goes into Psalms 90, stands out for multi-layered shield. It is recommended not only against nightmares and insomnia, but also against deception, slander, swindling, haunted spaces. Protection here is holistic, spiritual, psychological, and social. The same psalm that wards off demonic visions also guards against bad language, a reminder that human evil and spiritual attack are often intertwined. The breath application underscores an important hoodoo truth. Protection work is not just about spirits, it's about surviving a world shaped by malice, envy, and unseen forces. So, again, and like I tell you, when you start to do this work, we just went over spiritual warfare, protection, and cleansing. You're going to need that together first, okay? If when you start your hoodoo journey, you don't understand spiritual warfare, I don't recommend you start picking this up if you don't understand protection, you don't understand cleansing, you haven't done any healing work, you don't have um, a relationship with your ancestors. These you have that is the foundation of hoodoo. That is the practice. If you don't understand the practice and you don't have any relationship with your ancestors, you're not working with any archangels or saints and things like that to help you heal, doing any shadow work, any inner work and things like that. You know how to protect or cleanse. I don't recommend that you pick up hoodoo. Learn that first. Get a great foundation, learn the practice, learn how hoodoo was saving your ancestors' life, how they were using it for medicine, okay? How they was using it to heal themselves psychologically, how they were using it to heal their self emotionally. Then look at the magic behind it, why they were using the water, understanding the element of water, understanding the element of the plants, understanding the element of fire, and how our ancestors were able to use this, what they're called magic, uh, to shift changes in their life, to bring changes in their life. Ancestors is another word for them, like spirit guides or God. Yeah, ancestors are spirit guides. You'll see some ancestors. I read that in another book. You'll see that too. They talked about that in what's that book we went over? I think was we looking at Umbanda because we looked at a lot of diaspora spiritual systems. But in one of those spiritual systems, uh, they break down how ancestors guide us and how we have different ancestral types. Um, that guide us. So many of the spirit guides that we have, many of them are ancestral. Okay, and many of them are ancestral. So you will see that many ancestors serve as spirit guides too. I had someone say, "Well, I just thought I wanted to work with my spirit guides. I thought that'd be easier." And I'm like, ancestors are spirit guides. They didn't know. Okay, you have ancestors that work as spirit guides, so you'll have that as well. Now they're going by different names, but in hoodoo, the way we understood it. So you have people really, let me break this down because you have this new age stuff and they're coming up with these new terms like spirit guides, all this new, they're saying that's new. Let's be absolutely clear. This stuff is not new. You're taking this from our ancestral sciences and you're calling this stuff by different names. That is what you people do. That's what people do. A lot of this stuff is you got it from them. Y'all calling it neo pagan. Some of them going by the name of neo pagan. Neo pagan is just another name saying we get it from the more older culture. And some of this stuff gets renamed. Okay, it gets so it's the same thing. It just gets renamed. So be aware of that. None of this stuff is new. It's just the new age, just putting new terms on it. People have a hard time connecting ancestor to spirit. Both are in the land of the non-living, and both can be Bolivian. That is correct. That's correct. I agree. But seekers of know. He says people have a hard time connecting ancestors to spirit, and both are in the land of the non-living and both can be Bolivian. Okay. So you'll have your spirit guides too. You already have a guardian angel that comes with you. You have ancestors, your most elevated ancestors, spirit guides, or ancestors guide that assign to you. You also have other spirits that's in your court, like ancestors. I mean, not ancestors, like angels. Okay. You might have another spirit that, for their own reason, that is your spirit guidance as well. When you start to look at your spiritual court, you'll probably see a variety of spirits in there, not just one. When you start acknowledging them, especially if you start setting up your table and start again your altars, we call it tables here. Um, Again, we are developing relationships and building our spiritual court. You got some people got 4 or 5 altars, but again, I recommend that you be careful about when you get in the conjure. I probably shouldn't say that until you get in the conjure. But again, that's why we set up tables to develop relationships with spirits. Okay. You got some people that got whole altars to nothing but archangels. They just serve the angels. They go there, they put candles there, they put water there, they put offerings out there with nothing but angels. Then you have some people, they got an archangel altar where they, again, they work with nothing but angels over here. And then they have them on this side of the altar. They got number saints. They don't work with nothing, but they work with saints too. They give offerings and stuff like that to saints. They got water. They got offerings and all that to saints too. You got people that do that because they friends with these spirits. Now, the best teacher at this, honey, and they probably gonna get mad at me for saying it, but y'all know I ain't lying. Them Hispanics and them Latinas, okay? Them Hispanics and them Latinas in that Catholic Church, honey, they never stop conjuring. They're conjuring right now to this day. They never stopped it. Them folks, they ain't calling it up in there. Them people, they are practicing magic up in there. Now, if you can't find a spiritualist church or anything like that, and you run into a Catholic church, and there's a lot of Hispanics and Latinos in there, sit in that church a little while because you're gonna see some conjuring. Okay, now they not calling it that. They gonna call it saint veneration, and we all talking to spirits up in here. So you tell me what it is. They're gonna call it something Christian. No, we're not doing necromancy. No, we do saint veneration. They're doing magic up in there, especially if you in Louisiana. You're gonna see that. Okay. How do I call up on them and begin a relationship because I'm lost in everything? I feel so down. We go over there in our community. Um, in our community, you get all the resources on how to set up tables and things like that. But I recommend that you do your research. That's the first thing I want you to do is start looking for yourself and stop asking people and start studying for yourself. You get better results like that. Okay. So I got to get you to looking for yourself, setting up your table and putting in the work, looking for yourself. But we definitely have all the information on how to set up your tables, what these spirits like, uh, some invocations and prayers to start calling on them and being consistent with the work. Okay. But I got to get you again. We like for people to, I don't mind guiding you. I'll tell you where to go, what you should be looking at, the resources there. But you cannot, again, because if you see it yourself and see what you got to do, you're gonna know what you got to do. Okay, you know what you got to do. This gets you again taking your power back because you see Miss Penny showed you where it is, showed you how to set it up. Now it's time for you to follow through. Okay. But there's lots of information on how to work with different saints out there. We just shared a wonderful resource that lists saints in every culture, Islam, uh, Buddhism. We just again we covered everything over there because I don't know where your ancestors gonna lead you, and so we cover a variety of saints over there, whatever issues that you have going on, and most of the resources are going to tell you how to set up the table, what these spirits like. Okay, but many of them, if working with spirits, I have to again make this absolutely clear to you if you're doing any type of magic and you think it's gonna work like a microwave because these folks got you rushing around and thinking you ain't got time and things like that, and you think these spirits operate like that, you are sadly mistaken. Okay, they like relationships to unfold. They have to see you serious because there's so many people. Like I tell you, the physical world is full of manipulation and deception, and so they got to make sure that you're sincere and you're going to be consistent. Okay, what is I seeing right here? Let's see. Patreon, Miss Penny has set up for our community will most definitely assist you. It will. We have a beautiful community. If you're confused in your practice and you're saying, Miss Penny, I don't know I just don't know, Miss Penny. I just feel like this, get over there in our community. Because we definitely have the resources that's going to help you at a very reasonable price. And the value that you get there and the way we show up for each other there is unmatched by any other community. And it doesn't get on my nerves if you write me, because I have that. You write me a paragraph or whatever, something is going on with you, and you need me to chime in. I'm going to respond to that. Okay. I'm going to respond to that. It probably sometime with a voice message because I need you to hear my voice sometimes and let you know that I'm there to support. Because sometimes the tone can get lost in an email or paragraph, and sometimes I'll just send you a voice message. Most times I will, but I want to know what's going on, and I can help you. Gain more insight or give you guidance on how to address certain things. Okay, so that's what I'm there for. It was something else I wanted to tell you, and a lot of times too, if you're confused, it's because healing needs to happen, and we need to recalibrate the ancestor altar. Usually, when people start the healing, and the protection and cleansing, and they recalibrate that ancestor altar, they feel so much better. They feel so much better. So sometimes it's just that. It's been hard. I lost everything, and I'm just trying to survive. Night. This has been helpful. I'm glad it was helpful to you. I agree, Miss Penny has helped me so much. She's responds to. Okay, so I will respond. I'm gonna. If you have something going on, I'm just always hoovering, and sometimes I think I get on y'all nerves sometimes because I'm always hoovering. But making sure I'm available and really doing what I'm supposed to do. You know, because I know you know I know that the spirit's watching me, and I'm not gonna play like that. I know these spirits watching me, so I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing. Okay, so I know these spirits are making sure I stay in alignment, that I stay true to my word, and I'm gonna keep my word, and I'm going to do like they asked me to do. Okay, so I got a supervisor that's high up. These CEOs I work for, I got to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, or it'll mess up stuff. Okay, I agree, Miss Finney. Okay. So I will, if you reach out to me, you will always have, and I'm not gonna get mad or upset or bite your head off if you contact me and reach out. I know this is a community that we help each other, but I would love to see y'all go in that chat, community chat and chat more too, because sometimes, there's some practitioners in there that are really savvy. They know their stuff, and sometimes they can help you too. Because I'm wowed by some of the stuff they tell me. I was like, oh, you knew how to do that? Oh my gosh, you're gaining so much insight. I can tell when the ancestors working with you because you'll share a story, and the way you guys address some stuff, I'm just knocked off my feet sometimes because it's like you guys have been doing this a while, the way your ancestors lead you to address certain issues. So you'll be surprised who in your community that can really help you. Okay, because all of us are practitioners. Okay, I don't know everything. I know about my experience. I do have a lot of experience in here, but the ancestors are still teaching me and growing me. And whatever they share with me, I share with you. That's how that works. Okay. At California, yeah. I missed the announcements. Let me check my backlog of emails. Okay. So now we just went into a book. We're shifting gears now. Now that you know about um the magical books of Psalms, I'm probably saying that wrong. About the Psalms book we just dropped in there. Now I want to talk about uh the book Badass Ancestors and why I dropped that book in there. And of course, you'll see me we have a variety of books from different cultures talking about ancestors. And there you can see some of the common thread when it comes to ancestor veneration because it's a global practice. Got to get you comfortable with talking with ancestors because this is a global practice. So you'll see me uh, post different cultures, practices within our community. And sometimes it helps us refine our practice with our own ancestor veneration. So that's why we look at it. Okay. You might see a ritual in there that you want to adopt with your ancestors and run it by your ancestors. It might resonate with you. That happens sometimes. This is your ancestral practice. You are building it. You and your ancestors are building it together, and you are asking them what works for you guys. It don't matter what if somebody else got going on. That's their stuff. We talking about your stuff, your ancestor practice. Okay? I don't care how it look. It's just as long as it worked for you and your ancestors, that all that matter. The way somebody else do that stuff, they ain't none of our business. We know what our ancestors like. We know what works for us. I get you got to get you comfortable with that and stop looking at what other people doing. What do your ancestors want? What did you feel like they want? I have to get you to trust in yourself. That's the most important thing. And that be a lot of the hang up because we don't trust ourselves, or we've been listening to too many people on the outside of us telling us got to be like this, you got to be like this, you got to be like that. No, it don't. I got to listen to my ancestors, stop listening to these people. That's what I got to do. Okay, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. You got to stop listening to these people and listen to these ancestors because these people will. I can't say this enough. These people, I don't think they mean to lie, Lord. God, ancestors, I don't think they mean to lie. But honey, there's some of them the stuff they be saying, you know, you better follow spirit, okay? I don't think they doing it on purpose. Some of them they ain't doing it on purpose. They just the way they think, and they just repeating stuff, okay? You gonna have to be talking to these spirits because they know the answer, okay? And I get to get you to understanding it too. So again, we're looking at badass ancestors. What I liked about this is we start looking at the archetypes. This comes in handy when you know what archetype that you're living in with your ancestors, and you might find out that you have been a couple of these archetypes. And I think that was uh, a great thing looking at this book. Okay, and I think we talked about it in another. It's another ancestors book. They talked about archetypes. Was that in the ancestral medicine book? But you'll hear these archetypes. It was another book too, maybe a few books. But you'll hear these archetypes being mentioned here. And so it's important for you to identify with these archetypes because it'll give you an indication in what growing process or cycle you're in your on your life journey. You'll look at some of these things and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that's where I'm at right now. So one of the ones that popped up is the sage, the crone, emerges as the truth seeker, the translator of complexity. Now I can see myself in that because I am the crown. I am all. See how you can see those archetypes in there? So she kind of really breaks down the archetypes. And these archetypes, you'll see different archetypes depending on the culture and where you're at. But within our archetypes, I think it's a great example of our archetypes. If you look at the Hoodoo Tarot, the Hoodoo Tarot is especially when you look at the major arcana, you're looking at some of the archetypes in Hoodoo. Does that make sense? Any of you have seen the Hoodoo Tarot? I've worked with the Hoodoo Tarot before, and so one of the cards in the Hoodoo Tarot that impressed me when I was looking at that, because you guys know I love tarot. And one of the tarot was Red Row Bill. And I was like, oh my gosh, Red Row Bill. And instantly that flashed to me, I felt that Ogun energy. I'm just going to burst through everything. I'm going to get through that. So again, look at the Hoodoo Tarot because you'll see some archetypes in that too. You'll see some archetypes in that. And then you have some universal archetypes. These are some of the universal archetypes that I'm going over now. Okay. And then you have the warrior, the male or female that fights for justice and honor, defending those without a voice. Now, these will be the people, that are activists, uh, people that fought for civil rights and things like that. These are the ancestors again, the archetype, and you have ancestors that fall under these archetypes as too. There were warriors, there were activists. And if you are a activist or anything like that, more than likely you have these sort of ancestors around you. So understanding these archetypes too are good at letting you know what type of ancestral energy that you're dealing with and what path you're walking now on your journey. Does this make sense? I find it very helpful too. Okay. And you can identify with a lot of these archetypes. Okay. And then you have the mother. Now, the mother is usually going to show up as you can see her in the tarot too, as the empress, as the queen as well. The mother nurtures, protects while demanding accountability and growth. So you may be, uh, a mother. That's the role that you're in right now. You could also see it as that Yemiya, Yamoja, or Oshun. Oshun is really with the pregnancy and fertility. Not so much of mothering as Yamoja or Yamaya is. So again, you can see that mothering energy, that archetype energy, uh, especially if it's coming up in your ancestral guidance or your ancestors reading. And then you have the king of the father, sometimes represented by the emperor. So again, these archetypes will show up. It gives you an indication on the work you should be doing or where you at on your journey. My great grandfather was a World War II soldier. Okay. So he probably line up with more of that warrior energy, that archetype. And then we have the trickster archetype. Now, this get tricky. It depends on who telling the story about a trickster. The trickster gets a bad rap sometime. Okay? A trickster is not all bad. The trickster is really to ensure that you have gotten the lesson and that that the discernment is getting better. It's not there to punish you. And I think the people are looking at the trickster as a punisher. No, the trickster is there to ensure your growth. Now, and I think Papa Legba, Elegba, can get caught up in that as well. Now, I'm going to talk about this show. I think I posted it in our community. But you guys ever seen the show Atlanta? And remember the star in there called Paperboy? Remember him? Yeah. And they get a bad rap, but they're there to help you grow to get to the next level. So in Atlanta, Paperboy was stuck in these woods. He could not get out these woods. Have you seen that scene? He was stuck in these woods. He could not get out these woods. And he runs into this old man. And this old man is talking out of his head. He's talking out of his head. One minute the man seemed like he's trying to help him. And then the next minute it seemed like the man is trying to hurt him. And this was a total spiritual experience that he was having, but he didn't get it, but I got it. And Paperboy was going through a shift where he either could go back to his old, life, or he had to make a shift and move forward. And he was stuck. He didn't know which one he wanted to do. Okay. So the man tells him at the end when he's trying to, take him out the woods and stuff, and he gets mad at the man. The man pulls a knife on him and says, "Hey, you got a choice. You either gonna stay here and I'm gonna hurt you and do something bad to you, or you can move forward." And then he was scared. And I said, "You don't even know, again, you at a crossroads." Basically, what he was at. He was at a crossroads. You got to make a choice. You either gonna pedal back and regress, or you gonna move forward. And there was a whole ancestral experience that was having there. He was having there. Go back and watch that show. And after he got out that woods, the man disappeared. He didn't see the man no more. After he got out the woods and he made it to that store, his life changed. He made a choice to become that paperboy, the vision that he was building. Because the ancestors again gave him a choice. You either gonna stand here and sit still, or you gonna move forward. Now, if you sit still, you gonna hurt yourself. You ain't gonna live no full life. You said it's what you want. He got up out them woods too. But all of that was so symbolic, and you could tell he hadn't really put that together. The character had a lot of lessons like that. Okay? So go back and look at because again, I was like, oh my gosh, he's at a crossroads. He has no idea he's at a crossroads. And he has no idea that he is this is a spirit that's leading him in these woods. He's gonna have to make a decision. You either gonna go back or move forward. And he decided to get out those woods. And when he got out the woods, he made a decision again to embrace his new life instead of trying to be the old person he was. Okay. So you'll see some of these trickster type energies and spirits, they get a bad rap, but they're there to grow you. It's not there to punish you. Okay? It's not there to punish you at all. So you'll see some of these uh trickster deities, they get a bad rap. But if you just sit down and study with them, especially going into crossroads, into trickster spirits, because you kind of see them come up when we're not making good choices for ourselves or we're being deceived. They're there to make sure that you get the lesson and make sure that you grow. Okay. And some people, some people do have uh that that trickster type energy. You know, I could say for my grandmother, I'm gonna use my grandmother for an example. The stuff she used to do, and it used to piss me off. And I didn't know why she was doing that. I remember when I had just left my husband, and she know I didn't like him. She know I didn't want to be with him no more. She knew this. She knew this, but this is the stuff she did though. She was so slick. I love her to death, but she was just so slick. Now she knew I didn't want to be bothered with him. So she would bring him. The only way that he can contact me, because I didn't want to have any contact with him, the only way he knew that he could have contact with me, it was through a family member. So he would go to my grandmother's house and he would, get on her nerves about me and all of that. And she would tell him, "Hey, I can talk to her for you. I can talk to her." Oh, my grandmother, she's so smart but so slick. She was getting her knees. It's just crazy. Let me finish the story. So she would tell him, "I can talk to her for you. All you gotta do is buy me a paint. Give me a paint of that Evan Williams, and I take her out. You take me up there. I'll talk to her for you." Yes, this she was doing it. She did that to me. I think my grandmother did that for about 2 months. She did this to me. She did this. I said, "I can't believe she did this." So he would buy her a paint of Evan Williams. And he would bring her over there to where I was, and he would be in the parking lot, and she'd come up to the house and say, "Yeah, I brought him up here to you." And I would call her in the house and say, "Why would you bring him up here? Why would you bring, I don't want to be talking to this man. It's over between us, Grandma. Why would you do that?" She said, I know you don't want him back." I said, "Why would you do it then?" She said, "Because he bought me something to drink. And then I know you got paid. If you buy me," oh my God, my grandma was so slick. She said, "You buy me a paint of Evan Williams, I'll take him back down the road and I won't bring him back." Yes, she did. Yes, she did. I said, "What is happening here? What is happening here, Grandma? Are you?" So I know. So don't tell me that you ain't got no. You ain't got nothing to buy me something to drink. I know you do because you got paid today. And so just go ahead and pay me. Go ahead and give me enough money to get me a paint, and I'll take him back down the road. You won't see him no more. I said, "Oh my God, I don't know what the hell is happening here. I ain't know what's happening here." And I knew I didn't want that man. I couldn't believe she was doing this to me. And I can't believe how he was going for what she was doing. I'm like, "Do you not see what she's doing?" And I wanted him away from there. And she knew it too. She knew I wanted that man away from there. She said, "I know you don't want him here. So go ahead and give me the money. Go ahead and buy me a paint. I'll take him down the road. I promise you won't see him no more." I give her the money to take him, and I won't see him again. But she did this, you guys. She did this maybe a two or three other more times, and I think he finally caught on to what she was doing. You know, but she did this to me about two, three other more times. I said, "I can't believe that. But again, she knew I didn't want him. She didn't really want me to be with him. You know what I'm saying? But again, and she was tricking him as well. Did she cause any harm? No. But she made sure that I didn't want him no more. You see, I didn't want him anymore. And if you're gonna keep on, pandering after my granddaughter, then I'm gonna keep making a fool out of you because she don't want you. Okay, so you kind of see, Does that make sense to y'all? And that's how, are they evil? No, not in a sense. But I could see that energy kind of playing in my grandmother when she was doing that. Because I was like, why in the hell are you doing that? Okay. But she also understood that, my ex-husband was very kind of, he had this obsession type of mindset. Uh, I think it was a way of her trying to stay in a loop from him doing something crazy too, because he had did some crazy stuff. So I think that was her way of trying to protect me and staying in the loop. So again, you kind of see, are they mean though? Are they evil? No, not in a sense they're not. Okay, not in a sense they're not. I hope that made sense. And it was the funniest thing. I see my grandmother do that. I was like, and that just came up. Me just thinking about that crazy stuff that she used to do. So not in a sense, uh, they're not evil. You guys got to pause and take a moment to what's going on. Review what's going on. It's really harmless. Okay, but it does make you think. The explorer and the rebel refuse confinement. You'll see the explorer kind of come up as the fool. They want to, I kind of see that too because I got that Sagittarius energy. Again, they're gonna explore. They're going to want to experience different things. There's nothing you can do to stop them. They're gonna go against what is socially acceptable in society. They're going to go against the norm. Most of these people are more like revolutionaries. Okay. And you might be the rebel in your family. No one can really understand you. You might see that in hoodoo. You might be the only person in your family that's practicing hoodoo. Everybody else is Christian. They don't get that. You don't get that. You're doing your own thing, so you might be embodying the archetype of rebel in your family if you the only outed, because all of them practicing hoodoo to a certain extent and they don't know it, and now you're the rebel, and now that's what you're at right now until you get on your journey, and it might shift into another archetype. Yeah, I'm the black sheep in my family. Okay. So you might be the rebel, you might be the explorer, and then understanding your journey. I think understanding the archetypes too. When you start looking at these archetypes, you start to resonate a lot with their journey, and you start to see you embody a lot of that energy. This is no different than when you're looking at Oshun, where you're looking at Ogun. A lot of people saying, "Hey, I want to work with these energies," but if you can't embody the archetypes, if you're not on that journey and you're not doing the inner work to embody the archetype, the energy, the attributes, you're going to be limited in how you can work with them. You're looking for something outside of you to help you when really you're trying to embody them. You want them to possess you. That's that's the goal in our practice. We want Oshun to possess us. We want to become her. We don't want to just venerate. Yeah, we venerate her. We honor her. Um, in honor that we can access some of her attributes, that we become her, that we see Oshun inside of ourselves, not just outside of ourselves, but the attributes that we're trying to open within ourselves. How do you balance it if you have more than one? How you have more than one what? More than one what, Panaga? But you have more than one talking about more than one archetype? I don't think it's a matter of balance. It's more about awareness. If we're talking about archetypes, it's about awareness and understanding how these energies are showing up in your life and accepting how they show up and helping using these energies to your advantage instead of working against them, having them work for you in your life once you understand them. I don't think it's more thing about balance. It's about accepting what's happening, understanding what's happening, and accept that it's happening on your journey. Just becoming self-aware of it. I don't think it's more about balance. It's more about being aware that these archetypes are in. You're working with them and how you can use them to benefit your life. Okay, I think once we know, we can say, "Oh, okay, this is what's going on with me. How can I use this to my benefit? I'm the rebel. How can I create instead of being on the negative side of this? How can I use this to refine me and make me better?" Okay, it's I don't think it's a bad thing at all, or it's about balance. It's about accepting and knowing what it is and how we can use it to benefit us in our lives. Okay, and so what is the another one? And again, you might have the two. This talk this comes up different, and so I'm not going to talk about that. But maybe I should. Maybe you might have the lover card that comes up there, and I think I had somebody else that comes up. And usually, when the lover card shows up, that archetype show up, it is a pure connection with cosmic energy. Heart chakra is open. There's connection. There's a healing that's going on. Okay, this is beyond more like romance. This is more like self love, self awareness, connection to the divine. Okay, to your divinity. Uh, and usually that's going to happen when things start unfolding within you, and there's been some self love, some self awareness that's going on. You could be in a healing state right now. Okay, but self love is essential on this journey. Okay. So again, I think that is important to understand the archetypes, and some you'll see some of the archetypes show out. Again, when I think of the rebel, or I think of um, yeah, when I think of the rebel, I think of like Malcolm X or Tupac, Tupac, Nina Simone. You'll see them or some of our ancestors embody some of these archetypes. And so some of the our ancestors, we can work with them to embody some of these archetypes as well. Just like you have some of us are working with Ogun, or we're working with Papa Legba. I know they're telling you they're spirits, but they're also attributes and things. They're not outside of us, they're within us as well. Like I said, all of this is ancestral. Even when you start looking at Oshun and understanding the laws and the energies of things like that, they're not so much as outside of us than they're inside of us as well. Because remember, all of this is ancestral. I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, so now we're going to shift gears. Anybody got any questions about that before we move on? Because now we're going to talk about the juicy stuff. We're going to talk about libations and water offerings and things like that. I thought it was because we've already covered it, but I'm going to cover it again. Libations. Excuse me, I blow my nose. I hate this so much. All the barking. I'm healing. I'm healing now. Okay, I'm healing. Okay. Pardon me. Excuse me, you guys. I don't like it. It sucks. I don't like it. Okay. So now we're gonna go into libations. Now we have covered libations before, and I've heard some people talk about that. Should I give my ancestors rum? Should I give them whiskey? Should I give them coffee? What does the coffee mean? What does the whiskey mean? What does the water mean? What with the libations? Libations is a good way again to start strengthening connection with your ancestors. I have some people to come in, they don't have an ancestor altar right off the bat. They're still unfolding and getting comfortable with ancestral veneration. And the first thing I tell them to do is to start the libations up. If you're not ready for an altar, get your libations started up. There needs to be some consistency again with waking them up and trying to connect with them. If you're not going to do an altar, then we definitely need to be consistent at doing libations and invoking them and talking to them. This can be done preferably, you can use if, a tree. You can. I prefer you to use some type of tree. Be led by a tree. Do your libations near a tree and pour it there and say your prayers there. Or you can use a plant. You can't get to a tree. You're not ready. You can't get outside the way you want to. Use a plant. Plant works just fine. Now you can do this depending on how um how strong you want your connection to be with your ancestors. Some people do this every day because they want a strong connection with their ancestors. They want to keep them present every day. Then you have some people that do this, maybe once a week. It depends on you. But I will say this, the more contact you have with your ancestors, you can, again, just every day, it can be simply as just getting up, saying a quick prayer. I thank you, ancestors, for waking me up. Da, 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 please be within me throughout my day. Just doing this every day builds up ashe and connection. Okay? If you really try, because the more frequent you could be with your ritual, the stronger the connection is going to be. Okay? But if you're going there once a week, you know, you're only contacting your ancestors once a week and talking to them once a week, expect for that to unfold slowly. Now you got some people, and that's you got some people that get up in the morning, they just automatically put coffee on their ancestor altar. Um, they light a candle and light a cigarette for the ancestors, and they may say a few words. They do this every morning. Okay, they do this every morning. They talk to their ancestors, and then maybe sometime in that week they'll slow down. They'll slow down and really sit longer at the ancestor altar, but they honor them every day as they get up. They just put coffee on the altar. They speak to them or whatever, and then at some point during the week or whatever, they slow all the way down and they sit there and they spend time at their altar. But they acknowledge them, and they are giving them ag- they're giving offerings every day. Okay. They acknowledge them every day. You got some people like that. And the more you can do it that way, you can incorporate them in your life every day, the stronger the connection is going to be. And and it'll unfold, the relationship will unfold a lot more quicker. Because the more you can incorporate them in your life, the stronger that connection is going to be. You're giving them permission to interface and be more active in your life when you do this. Okay? That makes sense? Okay. Libation grounds all the work of this in ritual action. A libation is pouring a liquid water, alcohol, coffee, while speaking words of reverence. It is one of the oldest spiritual technologies known, rooted in African traditional religions, and carried through hoodoo, voodoo, santeria, and espiritismo. Liquids are chosen because of life flows through them. They move between worlds. Water represents purity, peace, spiritual coolness on an ancestor altar. Clear water indicates harmony. Now, if your water is clear on your ancestor altar, great. It doesn't always have to have bubbles, you guys. Okay? It doesn't always have to have, but if it got bubbles in it, great, cool. Okay? You might have bubbles in there when it first come out. They just letting you know, hey, we're there, and then the bubbles will go away. Sometimes the bubbles will stay there the whole time. It's on the altar, depending on what your ancestors got going on. They just let you know they're present. They got you. But if that water is cloudy, be concerned. Okay, be concerned. If that water is cloudy, something is going on. Either there is some healing that you need to do that you're not aware of, a block or something is going on with you, or if there is some deception or something in your environment, some manipulation. Always be, if there is cloud of water, then I have to get you to slow down and find out what's going on. Start doing a reading, a divination, talking to your ancestors about what's happening. There is definitely something going on if your water is cloudy. Now, if it's clear, fine. If it has bubbles, fine. Okay. But if it's cloudy, we need to be, again, concerned. You need to start asking questions, doing divination. I would recommend to, again, immediately start your protection and cleansing ritual, and really look at the last time you have done any healing work, a shadow work, because there could be some stuff foggy you got going on with you. Okay. But there's definitely something going on if your ancestors' water is cloudy. And it's never been cloudy before, and you steady getting is cloudy in it, something going on. And usually, when you have addressed the issue, the water will clear up again. The water will clear up again. If it stopped getting foggy, again, you have cleared out the thing. You've cleared that thing out. You're aware of it. But after you've done the work and addressed the problem, the water should get clear again. But you definitely should be concerned if the water is cloudy. Okay? Alcohol. Alcohol introduces heat and urgency. White rum cleanses and opens pathways. So you have a lot of people that use rum as customary. I like using rum. I like using vodka. My ancestors like rum and vodka. They don't like whiskey. I've you know I've never had to use. I put it up there one time and I could tell they didn't like it by the way that whiskey turned out. You'll know if they didn't like it because I ain't never seen whiskey do that before. It looked like it's spoiled or something. Okay, that was the indication to me y'all don't like whiskey, so I don't put that up there. You might have some spirits that like whiskey, but I know my ancestors they don't like whiskey. I tried to put whiskey up there. I ain't never seen whiskey do that. I mean, it looked like it was turning. I ain't never seen whiskey do that before. So I said, y'all don't like that. But I give good results when I can put any clear up there. I can put gin up there. I can put rum up there. I can put vodka up there, and it goes just fine. Okay. White rum cleanses and open pathways. Gin and vodka offer clarity and purification. Whiskey grounds in strength, justice, and working class ancestral memory. So you have some ancestors. Is that High John the Conqueror? I think that's High John the Conqueror, or that's Black Hawk. One of them spirits, might be both of them. They like whiskeys. Now you have some spirits that like whiskey, okay? But my ancestors, they don't want that up there. But you might have some spirits that like whiskey, like uh, Papa Legba. Working with him, he likes rum, specifically spiced dark rum. Okay, so again, you'll depending on the spirit that you're working with, and you'll know that because usually if I have you working with a spirit, a Pacific spirit, and you are saying you want to work with a spirit, their drinking stuff is going to be listed there. Okay. So I was told if there was alcoholics, you shouldn't feed them liquor. True or false? That is very true. Now, if you know, now I think that's true with family members. Now, if you know you got a family member, because now we're going into family members now. Now, these people are, when they're talking about alcoholics, they're talking about recent family members. Now, if you're working with recent family members, and some of you may do that if you're comfortable enough to do that, you feel like they're healthy enough to work with, then no, you wouldn't offer them alcohol. You will offer them their favorite foods, um, their favorite dish or something like that. Maybe a cigarette or something. I don't know. I don't know if this is a specific family member and you know that they had an addiction of some kind, but you knew their special foods and their favorite foods and things like that, then you would offer that, but not alcohol. So yeah, that is true if you're working with family members. Okay, that is true. So because I think ancestors is such a vast scope. And so what I'm seeing here with us, in our community, we're talking about ancestors. A lot of people thinking that it's family members, and that it's just family members, and it's not just that. I mean, we got a whole array of ancestors. We got Malcolm X, we got Martin Luther King. We can just go on and on with ancestors. It's not just your family members. We're talking about a whole culture of ancestors. We're talking about saints here, righteous saints. We got righteous people that created so much good change in our lives in our culture, you know and we're narrowing it all down to family. No, we got a whole nation here. Okay, now can we use family members in our work? Absolutely. You can't. I don't recommend using recent family members for the simple fact of the soul evolution. They're tired. They already been here. They already done that. Why would I want to disturb them for their peace? I want to let them rest. I want to call on the most elevated ancestors that have been rested, that has the power, the guidance, and the wisdom to help me. Not the ones who just passed over, because I know, I mean, they're resting. They just left this life. And I know if I just left here, I don't want to be coming back here to help nobody with nothing. I just want to rest. Okay. And if they really want to work with you, that most times they will show up in your dreams. Recent family members that want to do work, we get a lot of assumption too that they are working with us. But most time, recent family members, let's just tell the truth, a lot of them didn't like you. So why would you think that would help you? A lot of them didn't approve of hoodoo. So why would you think they would help you? I don't recommend uh working with recent family members until they see you. If they believe me, if they want to work with you, they will start rolling up in your dreams. They're gonna let you know. Okay. Don't assume that because you set up ancestral veneration, all your family members gonna approve of you working with them. No, 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 no. That's why we're very specific in calling elevated ancestors and not just family. And I think we need to be more clear when it comes to ancestor veneration because there are different types of ancestors. Not all ancestors are good. Not all ancestors want us to be practicing magic. Again, we want to call on the ones that are going to support us on our spiritual journey. And some of our family members didn't like us. Some of them was jealous of us. Let's just be clear on that. Okay, that's why we're calling on our most elevated ancestors, so they don't have to be related as an ancestor. What's crazy is I just got a big Tupac picture. No, they don't have to be related. They're a part of the culture. They are our ancestors. Okay, that's why you got people now that work with Marie Laveau. Now we can call on Aunt Caroline died. You can call on Zora Hurston. Okay, these are ancestors now. We can call on these spirits. We work with spirits over here. We work with ancestral spirits. And some of these, we break this down. A good book in our community to read is Ancestral Medicine because we break this down thoroughly to help you gain a greater understanding of ancestral veneration and types and different types of ancestors. Like I said, the ancestor veneration is so wide. It's so wide because you got ancestors now that are now gods. Come on now. You look over there in voodoo, many of those they've been sanctified. Now we're calling them Loas. Loas is another name for saint. Orisha is another name for saint. You're seeing them being called um, saints in the Catholic Church, but those are our terms for saint. Okay? So that's what when you're looking at the Lords and you're looking at the Orishas, you're looking at saints. Okay? You're looking at the holiest of holies, the ones that have been deified to that status. Like I tell you, you can't have none of these spiritual practices, and I have to tell people that, honey, it don't work without no ancestors. So let's stop faking and jiving. In fact, some of them don't want to talk to you if you don't even know you don't even honor your ancestors. So how you gonna go over there and start working with this elevated ancestors and you don't even honor your own ancestors in your tree? So now you gonna try to work with this high saint over here and you don't even honor your own ancestors and your own lineage. There's different types of ancestors. I know that they're making it seem like it's under one to fit all ancestor veneration. But once you break that down and start looking at it, because they're telling, I'm not making this up. You go talk to the ATRs. You go look. I've talked about this on my channel a lot of times. How the Orisha veneration, the Ifa, all of them are ancestral. Who created the practice? They didn't create themselves. Okay, I have to put it to you like that. And just because you jump over there in the ATR don't mean you going past the ancestors. Some people think going over there, and I think this is the way they presented it too, that you're getting over there, you bypassing the ancestors and all that, and you just living it up. No, you ain't. You really messing yourself up doing that because you're gonna have to go back and get a good foundation, and it's gonna take you longer to understand that religion if you do not understand ancestral veneration. You're gonna move around, and you you know, might be a lot of gatekeeping and stuff done to you and stuff as well because you don't know what's going on. if you don't have this up under your belt. I don't advise anyone, you don't understand the spiritual system, ancestral veneration, and your own ancestral magic. Why would you jump into something? Uh, it just doesn't make sense. You need to understand it first. That's just my um, opinion. We can take that or leave it. But I've known that people that go over there and that have a relationship with their ancestors and that know about their ancestral magic, they have better results and experiences when they go over there, knowing than going over there and not know nothing. Okay? That's just been my experience, what I've seen. Coffee. Coffee is often overlooked. It's profoundly sacred, originating in Ethiopia. It awakens both body and spirit. Its aroma is said to wake the dead, making it ideal for daily offerings, psychic work, and grounding rituals. Coffee comforts spirits who drank it in life and sharpens the practitioner's awareness. So, coffee is again get them going, get them moving. If you're doing any work like that, you need your ancestors with you every day. I like putting coffee on the altar every day. I try not to miss a day putting a coffee on my ancestors altar. I just my day tends to go a lot better like that when I put them in the middle of my everyday. So you do it and you tell me what you think, or you pour coffee libations to them. You tell me what you think. What's the name of the book on Patreon for Ancestry? We got so many. The book that I'm referring to, I just went over is Badass Ancestors. But we got so many ancestral books up there. Got another book, Ancestral Medicine, A Guide to Ancestral Veneration, Talking to the Dead. We just did a streamline primer for streamline for spiritual work. That's got, showing you how to work with the dead and ancestors. We just got so many resources. You can't get ancestral veneration wrong in our community because we cover it too thoroughly. Okay. You should have in our community, you will have a great foundation because we cover everything so thoroughly there. We do. We try not to miss anything over there. And you're gonna have confidence in your practice because you're gonna know what you're doing. You're not gonna have to ask questions because the resources be right there. The only way, and usually what I've experienced over there, most practitioners they start off pretty good. They understand what's going on because we have thorough conversations like we have it now. But the most times you guys be reaching out to me because you done had an experience. They start having results. That's what I see over there. Most of them, when they start implementing the information and using the resources, they reaching out to me because they didn't had an experience because it worked. I wanted to work for you. So, and we're really talking about the experience and really I'm talking to them about the experience and seeing what type of psychic information or something they have picked up. And most of the time, they know the answer once I get the prime. They didn't know they know the answer till I get the prime and asking them questions. I was like, see, you already knew the answer. You want to answer yourself the questions. So it's usually what happens over there if you implement the work. But we try to take all the fluff out of the practice. It's not gonna do me no good to come here and show you no spill, even though we know people love that. That seems to be very popular on these channels. A lot of these practitioners, that's all they're sharing with you is spells. But my thing, I want you to slow down and I want you to ask these people, what spirit are you working with? Please stop showing me that. Maybe I need to learn how to work with this spirit and develop a relationship with this spirit to help me do this work because that's what they're doing. And I know a lot of them don't like me saying this. Okay. They probably don't like I'm giving you the gems right here. I'm taking the fluff all out of it. Okay? I'm telling you. I don't know anyone, and I'm not lying. I ain't got no reason to lie to you. And some people like the fluff. You would love me to come here and show you a whole bunch of spells and stuff and all that stuff. But that's not going to ensure that that works if you don't have a relationship with any spirit. Okay? The spell is nothing but the expression of the relationship and the agreement you have with the spirit to do the work. That's all that is. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background that you don't know about. And you don't understand how that spell was put together. They probably telling you put this in there. But why am I putting this in there? What does this represent? Okay. So again, I teach you to practice and not to spell. And you'll be coming to me telling me what spell you put together that worked. And of course, you have all the resources there to help you put those things together. If you want to use hoodoo for root work for healing, you have that information there too. If hoodoo, you want to use hoodoo for magic to see shifts and changes in your life, you have that there as well. If you want hoodoo to heal your mind, you have that there as well. So you have all this hoodoo in this whole totality of the way we talk about it as a resource is available at our platform. We don't just talk about magic. Hoodoo is not just about magic. Hoodoo is about healing your mind, body, and spirit. It is a way of life. It is more than just a spell. I can't emphasize that enough. Okay. So again, coffee is a good way to wake your spirits up. Your ancestors love coffee. So if that's something that you want to, and maybe your ancestors like tea too, because you got some ancestors that love tea. So whatever their favorite morning drink was, whether it's orange juice or whatever, if you can give that in the morning, pour that libation or put it out for them, they love that. To include them in your everyday practice. And some people depends on you how you want to develop your relationship with your ancestors. Some people do this every day. Some people do this once a week. Okay, depending on uh how strong you want your connection to be with your ancestors. Hey, time stomping army. Libations rituals follow a simple but potent structure. Prepare the space, call the spirits by name, and pour slowly with intention. Speak your prayers, close with gratitude. Simple does not mean shallow. It doesn't have to be no all fancy stuff and all that. Be for real. Your ancestors know you. You don't have to come up with nothing fancy. If you choose to do that, fine. But you can keep it simple, okay? They know you. You don't have to put on any shenanigans or any fluff for them. This act sustains relationships that makes all other work possible. So again, they clear the way for you. It only clears your way from any contrast or anything like that when you do the spell work. So when you got this relationship with these spirits or whatever, they make sure your spell is successful by stopping it from being tainted by any negativity, anything else from touching it, or even amplifying it, so you can have more success in your work. That's why you are working with archangels, ancestors, or whatever spirit guide that you're working with to make sure that your work stays clear and that it manifests. That's why we have spirits in the spiritual realm. And you'll find yourself, some people say keep doing the spells, keep doing spells. Now you need to keep talking to them ancestors and keep your relationship going. That matters more than keep doing a spell. Nothing works without spiritual communication and support. So it is imperative that you keep this, that you keep your altars clean. If you have devoted a relationship with this ancestors or this spirit guide and they helping you in your work, then you keep serving them. You got some people that they might specialize in, I'm trying to think of something. As I'm thinking one, they might specialize in love work. They love doing love spells. They have a very good relationship. They love spells work because they have this great relationship with Azurli Frida. So every love spell they do for you, they're going to Azurli Frida and asking Azurli, giving an offering to Azurli Frida and doing a spell for you, petitioning Azurli Frida to help this love spell work for you. Yeah, and they keep the devotion going up, the communication and relationship going on in honor in the agreement that Azurli Frida will help them with all their love spells. Yeah, you send a pretty little candle and all that, but that stuff is probably on Azurli Frida altar, and there's probably a petition to Azurli Frida to help them in the workings that they're doing for you. Yeah, yeah. See, you don't know that because nobody's breaking it down to you like that. My granny drank garlic water. Okay, I will put garlic water up there then if that's what she like. They're not gonna tell you that. That's why you need to slow. You need to slow down. Okay. And two, your ancestors don't really help you. Your ancestors, a lot of people say, oh, they do. I don't recommend doing uh spells on your ancestors' altar. That's their house. That's just for veneration. That's devotion to them. You invoke your ancestors and call on your ancestors when you start your work. You automatic with your mouth. Okay, that's how they help you. Okay, and you do a divination with your ancestors for guidance on how to do the work, or should you be doing it? Will it be successful? That's when your ancestors come into play. We don't really do any magic for our ancestor out to work like that on them. We go there for guidance, help, and protection. Okay, and for them to keep that open. Ancestral veneration and coffee and libations. Okay, what was the typo? Or ignore that. What if you don't know that trust would like? Okay, you said it was a typo. Okay. All right. So again, an ancestor veneration is very safe. It's very simple. It's nothing complicated about it. And I would never put you in harm's way. That's why you will continually hear me say elevated ancestors, elevated ancestors, elevated ancestors, elevated. We'll keep saying it. Okay. It's very safe. It's very simple. It's not as hard as you think it is. I think the most hardest thing is for you to slow down and learning the language of spirits. And that's why we talk about spiritual communication. We talk a little bit about necromancy and sorcery. I'm sorry, this is what they're calling it. So we have to look at it. Okay. We talk about spiritualism too and how our ancestors communicate with us. So we slow that down. My job is to again to help you trust your psychic abilities and to recognize when spiritual communication is going on there. And so we have a lot of resources on there, and that's really be a lot of our hang up. We don't trust our intuition, and we don't know the language of spirit, or we don't know, how the spiritual world really functions or interact with us. And once you have that, you understand that, especially when you got your divination, you're comfortable with your divination, things should start flowing really smoothly for you. Okay, it's not hard. A lot of these spirits, again, your spiritual journey requires time. It requires you slowing down, and it requires a lot of self care and it's a lot of self love. Those are going to be keys. All right. Does anyone else have any questions or anything to um add here? Did I miss anything? Because I wanted to go over this again to make sure that you really understand the resources that you have. Let you know how beneficial the resources are and how to use them, how you can use them. So I wanted to come here for that and make sure I didn't miss anything and that you're understanding things about your practice. That's why I come here. If I can give you extra and help you, I will. I have no problem with that. Okay. So we're going to be slowing down in our community. Any questions here, please ask them now. Again, if you're interested in hoodoo, we have different memberships. If you just want to learn, we have a $5 membership. If you're ready to amplify your rituals, to strengthen your connection with your ancestors, to learn more about saints and angels, getting our ritual membership is $10. You say, hey, I got my ritual perfected, Miss Penny. I have that perfected. I'm ready to work with spirits now. I want to gain more relationships with different spirits. Get in our conjure. Okay. Um, if you're saying, hey, Miss Penny, I haven't healed, I haven't did anything, but I want to learn all of this. And I know I need to heal. I haven't did any shadow work. I don't know how this looks. I need support with shadow work, and I want to learn all of this. Get in our Know Thyself membership. Then you'll get the free workshop, which we have a workshop coming up, a healing circle that we talk about inner child work, where we talk about shadow work and things that we're working on. Our just inner alchemy, our emotions and things like that. So it's a really good support group for that, and really ask the questions to help you with shadow work. I want to work with throwing bones. Where do I start? Again, we have a full discussion on divination there. And I know with throwing bones, again, that's really going to have to be ancestral led. have a good relationship with spirit and trust in your intuition. There is also, with throwing bones, there is also like a diagram that you need to throw the bones within that lets you know which each bone or whatever article you're working with, where it's located in, like past, present, or future, or the way it's set up is a little diagram that you need to perfect and understand before you start throwing the bones, so you'll know how to divine them. But we covered that over there. Again, you'll have to read that on your own. Everything, again, a lot of things. What I've noticed, we get so used to people telling us stuff, and I have to slow you down and get you to learning things. Okay, if you want to know, it's good for you to learn. And we're getting, when people telling you something, they're not always giving us full context of things. So that's why I have to get you to slowing down and learning. Ain't gonna do you no good for somebody to tell you something, and you'll value the information more if you sat down and learned it. Okay, you get a lot of information get through, and people. I think they mean well, and they try to give you as much information as possible. We have to take it upon ourselves to slow down and learn. Okay, just because somebody tell you something, you didn't learn it. Somebody told you that. You don't know why you're doing this and doing that because they told you that because you said that's what you wanted them to tell you. But do you know why you're doing it? Do you know why it's set up like that? Do you know why it operates like that? Okay, take your time. Just take your time. There is no rush. It takes, like I tell everyone, I don't expect you to get this overnight because I mean, our ancestors, this is pretty heavy stuff. And you can go as high as you want to with this. And you can stay within a range that you're comfortable for. You don't have to know everything. Find what works for you and fix your life and stick to that. That's fine. And you'll grow later. But I say it takes about a year to get comfortable with integrating hoodoo in your life because hoodoo is a way of life. It's not just the magic part you're trying to integrate. You're trying to change the whole way you approach life and shift, energy within yourself so you can experience, more magic in your life. So it takes a minute because you got to reprogram your mind. Okay, you got a lot of healing to do. So I don't expect you to get this down packed within 2 or 3. This is not a race. Okay, it's about implementing it, integrating it, and getting it to work for us, finding our comfortability with it, finding our magic in our everyday life and how we can implement it. This is not a race. This isn't about who can do something better than us. This is about finding what works for us and integrating because hoodoo is a way of life. It is. So I don't expect you to know everything. I don't know everything. Okay. Sometimes, that's why I got these reference books and things like that. I have to go back and look. We don't have to memorize everything either because that's why we got our resources. That's why you have the books. You don't have to memorize all this stuff. And you know the book. Usually if I don't know it, I can point you to a resource. If I can't remember all of it, I bet you I can point you to a resource where it's at. Okay. I can't remember everything, but I bet you I can point you to a resource where you can find the answer, where I saw the answer. Okay. And you don't have to remember rise all this. Do what works for you, what you can remember. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. The more simple you keep this, the better it's going to work. And as you move on, you build on it. It get better and better and better. You get more and more advanced. Keep it simple for now. Okay. You don't have to be like everybody else. We ain't trying to be like them. Okay. Before they even start doing all this fancy stuff, they kept it simple. You keep it simple too. Just because it's simple don't mean it ain't powerful. It's very powerful. And matter of fact, it's more powerful the more simple you keep it. Okay? And don't, it's no rush. If you get that protection and cleansing and things out together, that's good right there. That can move out a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so you don't think you're doing a lot just by doing the work. Be patient with yourself, be loving with yourself, We're humans. We're working on you. Remember, you're on the earth plane. And so when we're in this third dimensional reality, we got to understand too, things on earth unfold a lot slower. Just the element that you're dealing with. So allowing to working with that earth element, just stand in alignment with it and let things unfold. Don't rush yourself. Because again, we do have to exist in this third dimensional reality and let it unfold and do the work. Can you use water for libations? Yes, I just covered that. I thought I just covered that. Yes. Okay. You can use water for libations. That's a common use for libations. A lot of people use water to call on their ancestors. Okay. But if you guys need anything, I'm going to be there. Won't be posting anything the next few days because your Christmas coming up, and happy holidays and happy New Year to a lot of you. So we'll be slowing down, and I'll be doing a poll on getting your suggestions on how you would like our community look going forward next year. We have a lot of resources there. I just think that we'll do good with meeting with certain groups and seeing where you guys at, where I can support you guys at more. But we will do a poll and see how you want that community looks and how we can better assist each other in our community. Okay? All right, you guys. Thank you for being here. And I hope these live streams are helping you guys. And even the ones that are new to our community. And I also want to point out, please go support our Instagram page. Our Instagram page is just, okay. I don't have many supporters over there, but we're on Instagram, Spiritual Roots Hoodoo. So please follow us on Instagram at Spiritual Roots Hoodoo. You should be able to. I think I've posted it in some of my videos here on TikTok, and you can also. I think it's in the link in our bio on YouTube. Support us on YouTube too. Okay, we're on YouTube too. Where you see this whole live stream that we're having here, you see that whole live stream is recorded on YouTube. Same to you. Don't forget your black eyed peas. Okay, I won't forget them. Okay. All right. Love you guys. You guys take care.